Flash marriage as a spoiled wife, my husband turns out to be a billionaire tycoon. On the day of the blind date, Haitong got married to a stranger. She thought she would live a respectful and ordinary life after marriage. Unexpectedly, her husband turned out to be a sticky person. What surprised her most was that every time she faced difficulties, he would come forward and all the problems would be solved. Chapter 1. The weather in Wancheng was still scorching hot in October, with only the early morning and evening providing a hint of autumn coolness. Haitong woke up early, made breakfast for her sister and her family, and then quietly left the house, taking her household registration book with her. From now on, we'll split everything evenly. Whether it's living expenses, mortgage, or car payments, it all has to be shared equally. Your younger sister is living with us, she has to contribute half as well. 2,000 a month. What's that even worth? Isn't it just free room and board? These were the words Haitong overheard during an argument between her sister and her brother-in-law last night. She had to move out of her sister's house. But to reassure her sister, there was only one way: get married. With no boyfriend, Haitong decided to accept the request from Grandma Jean, the elderly woman she had unknowingly helped, to marry her grandson, Jean Yin, who had difficulty in relationships. 20 minutes later, Haitong arrived at the Civil Affairs Bureau. Haitong. As soon as she got out of the car, she heard a familiar voice calling her Grandma Jean. Grandma Jean. Haitong hurried over and saw the elderly woman standing next to a tall, aloof-looking man. This must be the man she was supposed to marry, Jean Yin. As she got closer, Haitong saw Jean Yin clearly and couldn't help but be taken aback. From what Grandma Jean had said, Jean Yin was 30 years old and couldn't even get a girlfriend, which had made the old woman very worried. Haitong had always imagined him as an unattractive man. After all, she had heard he was an executive at a large corporation, making a lot of money. But upon meeting him, she realized she had misunderstood. Jean Yin was quite handsome, with a cold aura about him. Standing next to Grandma Jean with a stern face, he looked particularly cool, emitting a "don't approach me" vibe. Haitong's gaze drifted slightly to a black business car parked nearby. It wasn't a luxury car worth millions, but still, it made Haitong feel that the distance between her and Jean Yin wasn't as far as she had imagined. She ran a bookstore with an old classmate and friend near the middle school gate in Wancheng. In her spare time, she also made small handmade items to sell online, and her sales weren't bad. Each month, her income was stable at over 20,000 yuan. In Wancheng, earning 20,000 a month placed one in the white-collar class, so she sent her sister 5,000 yuan every month for living expenses. However, her brother-in-law didn't know about her full income. She had her sister save 3,000 yuan and only told her brother-in-law that she made 2,000. Haitong, this is my grandson, Jean Yin. He's 30 years old and still hasn't been able to find a girlfriend. Though he's a bit cold, he's actually very thoughtful and caring. You saved my life, and we've known each other for 3 months now. Trust me, I won't push a bad grandson onto you. Haitong glanced at Jean Yin as Grandma Jean described him, and Jean Yin gave her a cold, deep look without saying a word. Maybe he had become immune to his grandmother's repeated criticisms. Haitong knew that Grandma Jean had 3 sons, and each had given her 3 grandsons, making a total of 9 grandsons. However, she had no granddaughters, so she treated Haitong as one. Haitong's face flushed slightly, but she still extended her right hand gracefully and smiled as she introduced herself. Mr. Jean, hello. I'm Haitong. Jean Yin's sharp eyes scanned Haitong from head to toe, then from toe to head. After a light cough from his grandmother, he reluctantly extended his right hand to shake hers and spoke in a low, icy voice, Jean Yin. After the handshake, Jean Yin glanced at his watch and said to Haitong, I'm busy, let's get this over with. Haitong nodded. Grandma Jean hurriedly said, you two go ahead and complete the formalities. I'll wait here for you. Grandma, go to the car, it's hot out here, Jean Yin said as he helped her back to the car. Watching his actions, Haitong believed Grandma Jean's words. Jean Yin might be cold, but he was considerate and caring. Although she and Jean Yin were strangers, Grandma Jean had said he owned a house, fully paid off. By marrying him, she could move out of her sister's house, and her sister would be at ease, no longer having to argue with her husband for her sake. Her marriage was just a practical arrangement. Soon, Jean Yin returned to Haitong and said, let's go. Haitong nodded silently and followed him into the Civil Affairs Bureau. At the marriage registration office, Zhang Yin reminded Haitong, Miss Haitong, if you're unwilling, you can still change your mind. Don't worry about what my grandmother says. Marriage is a big deal and shouldn't be taken lightly. He hoped Haitong would back out. After all, he didn't want to marry a woman he had just met. Chapter 2. I won't regret it since I've already agreed. Haitong had thought about it for a few days before making her decision. Once she had decided, there was no turning back. Upon hearing this, Zhang Yin didn't try to persuade her further. He took out his ID and placed it in front of the staff. Haitong did the same. The two quickly completed the marriage registration process, which took less than 10 minutes. When Haitong took the marriage certificate from the staff, Zhang Yin took out a set of keys that he had prepared in advance and handed them to Haitong. I bought a house in Mingyuan Garden. I heard from Grandma that you have a bookstore near the middle school in Dongcheng. My house is not far from there. It takes about 10 minutes by bus. Do you have a driver's license? If so, I can provide you with a car. I can help you with the down payment, and you can pay the car loan every month. A car will make it easier for you to commute. I'm very busy with work, often leaving early and coming home late. Sometimes I have to travel for business. You just need to take care of yourself and don't worry about me. As for household expenses, I'll transfer money to you after I get paid on the 10th every month. Also, in order to avoid complications, let us keep our marriage a secret for now. Zhang Yin seemed used to giving orders at work and didn't wait for Haitong to respond before saying all of this in one go. Haitong wanted a quick marriage because she didn't want her sister and brother-in-law to keep fighting over her. She needed to get married so she could move out of her sister's house and put her sister's mind at ease. It was just a partnership to live together. Since Zhang Yin voluntarily gave her the keys to their house, she accepted them without hesitation. I have a driver's license, but I won't need a car for now. I usually commute by electric bike, and I just replaced the battery. It would be a waste not to use it. By the way, Mr. Zhang, do we need to do everything on an AA basis? Her sister and brother-in-law had an emotional connection, yet her brother-in-law had suggested splitting everything evenly. He always felt that her sister was taking advantage of him. She knew how much time it took to take care of a child, buy groceries, cook, and clean the house. Men who hadn't experienced it firsthand often thought that a wife's role was easy, just taking care of the kids and making meals. Haitong was marrying Zhang Yin in a flash, and they had never met before today. An AA system would be more comfortable for her. Without hesitation, Zhang Yin answered in a low voice, "Since I married you, I can support you. I can provide for our family. We don't need an AA system." Haitong smiled, "Then we'll do as you say." She wouldn't just take advantage without giving anything in return. She would contribute to their household expenses and buy anything they needed, especially since she was saving on rent. Mutual effort and understanding were key to a successful life together. Zhang Yin checked his watch again and then told Haitong, "I'm very busy and need to go back to work. You can either borrow my car to get home or take a taxi. I'll reimburse you for the fare. As for Grandma, I'll send her to my younger brother. By the way, let us add each other on WeChat so we can stay in touch." Haitong took out her phone, added Zhang Yin on WeChat, and said, "I'll take a taxi. You go ahead and handle your work. Okay, contact me if you need anything." Before leaving, Zhang Yin handed Haitong 200 yuan for the taxi. She didn't want to take it, but he gave her a stern look, and she subconsciously accepted the money. The newlyweds didn't leave the marriage registry together. Zhang Yin left first and went straight to his car. "Where's my granddaughter-in-law?" When Zhang Yin came out alone, Grandma Zhang asked suspiciously, "You two went in together, so why didn't you come out together? Did you back out? Or did Haitong back out?" After fastening his seatbelt, Zhang Yin pulled out their marriage certificate and handed it to his grandmother. "We got the certificate. I'm busy with work and need to rush back to a meeting." I gave her 200 yuan for the taxi, and she's heading home on her own. "Grandma, I'll drop you off at the intersection, and the bodyguard can take you home. You can't just leave Haitong alone after getting married. Don't drive away yet. Wait for her to come out and send her home first, then go to your work." Grandma Zhang insisted, but Zhang Yin locked the car door and started the engine. "Grandma, I've already promised to marry her. I don't need you to manage the rest. We're married now, so I'm the one who decides." As for her character, I'll observe it carefully. Before I'm sure she is trustworthy, I want to become a true husband to her. Grandma Jean sighed, our Jean family men never get divorced. Then it depends on whether the wife you picked for me is worth spending my life with. Jean Yin drove off as he spoke. You rascal, how could you be such a husband? You just got the marriage certificate and now you're leaving your new wife behind, driving off on your own. Grandma Jean knew that her eldest grandson's limit was getting the marriage certificate, but beyond that, he was firm in his principles. If she pushed too hard, Haitong might end up living like a widow for the rest of her life. She wouldn't want to do that to Haitong. Jean Yin didn't respond to his grandmother's complaints. If Haitong was really a good person, he would make her happy. But if she was deceiving Grandma Jean and pretending to be good, then in 6 months, he would divorce her. After all, he wouldn't touch her, and with their secret marriage, she could remarry someone better after the divorce. After driving for about 10 minutes, they stopped at an intersection. There were several luxury cars parked there, one of which was a Rolls-Royce. Jean Yin parked his car at the roadside, got out, threw the car keys to a waiting bodyguard, and ordered, "Take Grandma home." "I'm not going home. I want to stay with you and accompany my granddaughter-in-law." Grandma Jean resisted. But her beloved grandson had already gotten into the Rolls-Royce and drove off, ignoring her protest. She could only watch as her grandson left in the luxury car. Jean Yin, in fact, was the heir of the Dongcheng business empire and the head of the city's wealthiest family, with a net worth in the billions. "You little brat, you're really heartless." Grandma Jean cursed her grandson and muttered, "I hope one day you'll fall deeply in love with Haitong. I'm waiting for that moment when you slap yourself in the face." Even though she was angry, she couldn't bring her grandson back. So she hurriedly called Haitong, who was already on her way home in a taxi. "Haitong, a Yin's work is just too busy. Don't mind him." Haitong touched the marriage certificate she had tucked in her pocket and said, "Grandma Jean, I understand. I won't mind. Don't feel guilty. He gave me the taxi fare, and I'm already on my way home. Why are you still calling me Grandma Jean? You're married now." Haitong was momentarily stunned, then changed her tone and called, "Grandma." The elderly woman responded with a hearty laugh. "Haitong, from now on, we're family. If a Yin dares to bully you, tell me, and I'll teach him a lesson." She was happy to finally have a granddaughter-in-law and wouldn't let her grandson bully her. Chapter 3. "Grandma, I will," Haitong responded casually. Although Granny Jean treated her very well, Jean Yin was her biological grandson, and she was just his granddaughter-in-law. If there was ever a conflict between the couple, would the Jean family really side with her? Haitong didn't believe so. It was like her sisters-in-laws. Before marriage, they treated her sister like royalty, even making their own daughter jealous. After marriage, their attitudes changed completely. Every time her sister and brother-in-law had a disagreement, her mother-in-law would blame her sister for not being a good wife. The truth was, a son would always be the son, while the daughter-in-law was always an outsider. "You're going to work, right? I won't disturb you. I'll have a Yin pick you up later for dinner," Granny Jean said. "Grandma, I'll be closing the store late tonight, so it might not be convenient for dinner. How about the weekend?" Haitong asked. On weekends, the school would be on break, and the bookstore's business would slow down, sometimes even closing. She would have time then. "That's fine." Granny Jean was considerate. "We'll talk about it then. You go ahead and get busy." She ended the call on her own. Haitong didn't go straight to the store but first sent a message to her friend, Shen Xiaojun, letting her know she'd be back at the store before the students finished school. After such a big event, she had to tell her sister and move out of her sister's place. A little over 10 minutes later, Haitong arrived at her sister's house. Her brother-in-law had already gone to work, and her sister was hanging laundry on the balcony. Seeing her return, her sister asked with concern, "Tong Tong, why are you back? Aren't you opening the store today?" "I'll go back in the afternoon. I was busy this morning." "Is Yarn Yarn awake yet?" Haitong asked. Yarn Yarn was her nephew, just 2 years old, at a very mischievous age. "Not yet. If he were awake, it wouldn't be so quiet at home," her sister replied. Haitong helped her sister with the laundry and brought up the topic of last night. "Tong Tong, your brother-in-law doesn't want you to leave, he's just under a lot of pressure." I don't have an income right now, Hailing explained for her husband. Haitong didn't respond. Her brother-in-law was subtly asking her to leave. Her brother-in-law worked as a manager in a company and had a high income. He and her sister were university classmates and had worked in the same company. After they married, her brother-in-law said, "I'll support you from now on, you stay home and prepare for pregnancy." Her sister thought she had married the right person, so she quit her job and became a stay-at-home wife. A year after their marriage, they had a son, and her sister was busy raising him, taking care of the family, and no longer had time for herself, no time to dress up, take care of her figure, or return to work. 3 years had passed, and her sister had gone from being a beautiful young woman to a plump housewife who dressed casually and didn't care much about her appearance. Haitong and her sister were 5 years apart. When Haitong was 10, their parents died in a car accident, and they were left to depend on each other. The compensation from their parents' accident was enough to support their education, but part of it was taken by their grandparents and part by their maternal grandparents. The rest of the money they used sparingly to get through university. Since their grandparents had occupied their family's house, Haitong had rented with her sister. It wasn't until her sister got married that they finally stopped renting. Haitong's sister loved her very much and had promised her husband that after marriage, she would live with Haitong. Her husband had agreed without hesitation. Now, however, he was starting to resent Haitong living with them. "I'm sorry, sis. I've been a burden on you," Haitong said. "No, don't think like that, Tong Tong. Since mom and dad passed away so early, I'm the one who has been your support," her sister reassured her. Haitong was deeply moved. When they were young, her sister was her support, and now she wanted to be her sister's support. After a brief silence, Haitong took out the marriage certificate and handed it to her sister. "Sis, I got married. I just got the marriage certificate. I wanted to tell you first. I'll pack up and move out soon." "You got married?" Hailing's voice shot up several decibels, almost a scream. She couldn't believe her eyes as she looked at her sister, quickly grabbing the marriage certificate and flipping it open. It was indeed a wedding photo of Haitong and a strange man. "Tong Tong, what is this? Didn't you say you didn't have a boyfriend?" Hailing asked. The man in the marriage certificate was handsome, but his sharp eyes and cold expression suggested he wasn't an easy person to get along with. Haitong had already thought of what to say on their way back, so she calmly replied, "Sis, I've been dating someone for a long time. His name is John Yin. He has just been too busy with work to come see you. He proposed to me, and I said yes. We went to the Civil Affairs Bureau and got the marriage certificate. Sis, he is a great guy and treats me very well. Don't worry, I'll be happy after marriage." Hailing still couldn't accept it. She had never heard her sister mention a boyfriend, and now she was married. Remembering the argument between the couple the previous night, Hailing felt her eyes redden. She said to Haitong, "Tong Tong, I told your brother-in-law about the food money you gave. You can stay here without worrying about it. You don't need to rush into marriage or rush to move out." She was sure that her sister hadn't known her boyfriend for long, otherwise, Haitong would have told her earlier. Suddenly getting married today meant her brother-in-law probably disliked Haitong staying there too long, and Haitong was rushing to marry to avoid straining her sister's marriage. Haitong smiled and reassured her sister, "Sis, it really has nothing to do with you. Zhan Yin and I have a great relationship, and I will be happy. You should be happy for me." But Hailing kept crying. Haitong helplessly embraced her sister. After she finished crying and calmed down, Haitong promised, "Sis, I will visit you often. Zhan Yin's house is in Mingyuan Garden, not far from here. It's only about 10 minutes by electric bike." "What's his family like?" Now that the decision was made, Hailing could only accept it. She asked about her brother-in-law's family. Haitong didn't know much about the Zhan family. Although she had known Granny Zhan for 3 months, she didn't ask much about the family. When Granny Zhan talked about it, she just listened. All she knew was that Zhan Yin was the eldest in his family and had several younger brothers including cousins. Zhan Yin worked for one of the top companies in Dongcheng, owned a car, and had a house. His family background wasn't bad, so Haitong told her sister what she knew. Hearing that her brother-in-law had bought a house outright, Hailing said, "That is his premarital property, Tong Tong. Do you think you could ask him to add your name to the property deed? Adding her name to the deed would at least provide some security for her." Chapter 4. Sister, you've already said that it was his premarital property. I didn't contribute a penny. It's not right to ask him to add my name to the property certificate. Don't mention it. As soon as they got the marriage certificate, Jean-Yin gave her the key to their house so she could move in immediately. This solved the housing problem, which was already very good. She would not ask Jean-Yin to add her name to the property certificate. If he took the initiative to add her name to the property certificate, she would not refuse. Since they were husband and wife, they had made up their minds to spend their lives together. Hai Ling just said that, knowing that her sister was a self-reliant and not greedy person, she did not dwell on the issue any further. After a lot of questioning by her sister, Haitong successfully moved out of her sister's house. Her sister wanted to send her to Mingyuan Garden, but her nephew Ju Yarn happened to wake up. As soon as the little guy woke up, he cried and looked for his mother. Sister, take care of Yarn first. I don't have much stuff, so you can go there by yourself. Hailing also has to feed her son, and then prepare lunch. If the meal is not ready when her husband comes home from get off work at noon, he will scold her for not having to do anything at home but can't even cook a meal. All I could say was, then be careful on the road. Will you come over for lunch? Ask your brother-in-law to come with you. Sister, I have to go back to the store at noon, so I can't come. Your brother-in-law is very busy at work. He said he has to go on a business trip in the afternoon, so it may take some time before I can bring him over to see you. Haitong lied. She knew nothing about Jean-Yin, but she heard from Grandma Jean that he was very busy, leaving home early and coming back late every day. Sometimes he had to go on business trips, which could last for 10 days or half a month. She didn't know when he would be free, and she didn't dare to make a promise to her sister for fear of breaking her promise. I just got my license today and I'm going on a business trip. Hailing felt that her brother-in-law was not considerate of her. We just got the marriage certificate, and haven't held the wedding yet. If he wants to go on a business trip, let him go. He can make more money. There will be more places to spend money in the future. Sister, I'm going first. You should feed Yarn. Haitong waved goodbye to her sister and nephew, then dragged her suitcase downstairs. She knew about Mingyuan Garden, but she had never been inside. She called a taxi and headed straight to Mingyuan Garden. After arriving, she remembered that she had forgotten to ask Jean-Yin which floor his house was on. She quickly took out her cell phone and wanted to call Jean-Yin, but she didn't know his cell phone number. Fortunately, they added each other on WeChat, so she made a voice call to him. Jean-Yin was in a meeting. Everyone in the conference room had switched their cell phones to silent mode. He did not allow anyone to answer personal calls during the meeting. He also turned his phone to silent mode, but his phone was on the table, so he quickly saw the voice call from Haitong. When the couple added each other as friends, Jean-Yin did not note his name. Haitong's WeChat name was Mermaid in the Deep Sea. He saw that it was a stranger and without thinking, he picked up the phone and directly hung up Haitong's voice call. Then he deleted Haitong from his WeChat friends list. Haitong didn't know about his series of actions. When she saw that Jean-Yin didn't answer her voice call, she sent a message instead. She asked, Mr. Jean, I am now in Mingyuan Garden, but I don't know which floor your house is on. After she finished typing and clicked send, she realized that she and Jean-Yin were no longer friends. She stared at her phone in a daze. Why aren't we friends anymore? We clearly exchanged WeChat accounts at the entrance of the Civil Affairs Bureau. Did I add the wrong person? Haitong talked to herself, trying to recall whether she had added the wrong person on WeChat. She was sure that she had not added the wrong person at that time. Now they were not friends. There was only one possibility, that Jean-Yin deleted her. Had he forgotten that they had just gotten married? To be honest, if Haitong hadn't moved out of her sister's house, she would have forgotten that she had a husband named Jean-Yin in a few days. Haitong called Grandma Jean instead. When Grandma Jean answered the phone, she said, Grandma, I moved out of my sister's house and now live in Mingyuan Garden, but I don't know which floor Mr. Jean-Yin and I live in. Grandma, do you know? Grandma Jean. Haitong, don't worry, I'll call Ian now. Because she doesn't know either. In order to investigate Haitong, Jean-Yin let Haitong know that the house and car were newly bought. It was only after her two children got their marriage certificate that she found out that her eldest grandson had bought a house in Mingyuan Garden. After saying that, Grandma Jean hung up the phone and called Jean-Yin instead. However, Zhang Yin deleted his newlywed wife's WeChat, put the phone back on the table and continued with the meeting. However, less than 3 minutes later, the phone screen lit up again. Seeing that it was a call from his grandmother, he had to answer it. "Grandma, I'm in a meeting." Zhang Yin said in a low voice, "If you have anything to say, you can wait until I get home to talk about it." "Ian, which building and floor is your newly bought apartment in Mingyuan Garden?" "Haitong has moved there, but I don't know which floor it is on." "Didn't you add her WeChat?" "Tell her right away." Zhang Yin raised his eyebrows. Oh, he remembered. He got married today, marrying a girl he had never met but who was deeply loved by his grandmother. I think her name was Haitong. And he just deleted his wife's WeChat. "Grandma, tell her it's on the 8th floor of Building B, room 808. "That's fine, Grandma, tell her and you continue with your work." The old lady was a very impetuous person. After getting the answer, she hung up the phone and told Haitong the result. Zhang Yin looked at his phone, was silent for a moment, and then sent a friend request to Haitong again. Haitong didn't care that he had just deleted her and agreed to his request to add her as a friend. "I'm sorry, I just forgot who you are." Zhang Yin sent a message to Haitong to apologize to her. Haitong had saved Grandma Zhan. It was Grandma Zhan's sons and daughters-in-law who thanked Haitong. When the grandchildren went to the hospital to visit the old lady, Haitong was not there. Therefore, a busy man like Zhang Yin really couldn't remember who Haitong was. Even though his grandmother often mentioned Haitong in front of him, he didn't listen to her and didn't take it to heart, so he couldn't remember Haitong's name. Haitong replied to him, "It's okay, you are busy, I will move the things upstairs. Do you need help? I only have one suitcase, I can carry it upstairs by myself. Besides, if you really need help, can you come back and help me carry it?" Zhang Yin answered honestly, "No. He is very busy. I don't have time to go back and help her move." Haitong gave him a crying and laughing expression in return, then fell silent and did not disturb him from working anymore. Zhang Yin stopped sending messages. Neither of them knew each other and there was nothing to talk about. Zhang Yin only hopes that his wife can be more obedient and not always bother him with every little thing. He doesn't have that much time to take care of her. Putting the phone back on the table, Zhang Yin looked up and found that everyone was looking at him. Chapter 5. Zhang Yin said nonchalantly, "Continue the meeting." The person closest to him is his eldest cousin, Zhang Chen, the second young master of the Zhang family. Zhang Chen came over and asked in a low voice, "Brother, I heard what Grandma said to you, did you really marry that girl called Tong?" Zhang Yin stabbed him with a knife. Zhang Chen touched his nose, sat up straight, and didn't dare to ask any more questions. "But I expressed my deepest sympathy to my eldest brother. Although the men of the Zhang family do not need to marry to consolidate their status, the eldest brother and his wife are not a good match. They let the eldest brother marry her just because Grandma liked the girl named Haitong. The eldest brother is so pitiful." Zhang Chen once again expressed his deep sympathy. Fortunately, he is not the eldest son, otherwise he would be the one who married Grandma's savior. Haitong didn't know all this. After asking which floor her new home was on, she dragged her suitcase and found her new home. After opening the door, she went into the house and found it was quite big, bigger than her sister's house, and was decorated very luxuriously. After putting down the box, Haitong first took a tour of the house. This would be her home from now on. There are 2 living rooms, 4 bedrooms, 1 kitchen, 2 bathrooms and 2 balconies. Each space is quite large. Haitong estimates that the house is at least over 200 square meters. There are very few furnitures, only a set of sofas, a coffee table and a wine cabinet in the living room. Only 2 of the 4 rooms have beds and wardrobes, and the other 2 rooms are still empty. The master bedroom is a suite, which is divided into a bedroom, a small cloakroom, a small study, and a bathroom cum toilet. Although the space is divided, the master bedroom is still very large and can be compared with the hall. This should be Zhang Yin's territory. Haitong chose to live in another room with a bed, which was next to the balcony and had good lighting. It was separated from the master bedroom by a room so that the couple could also retain their own private space. Even though they got the marriage certificate, Haitong thought that unless Zhang Yin took the initiative to ask for sex, she would never bring it up. After pulling her suitcase into the room, Haitong went into the kitchen. The kitchen is clean and tidy, without any kitchen utensils. The balconies on both sides are also empty. However, due to the large space, even the two balconies give people a spacious feeling. Haitong thinks it would be good to grow some flowers and plants on the balcony, and then buy a swing chair and put it on the balcony. In her spare time, she can sit on the swing chair and read a book or appreciate the flowers. It is very comfortable. It seems that Jianyin usually doesn't eat at home. Now that she had moved in, she had to cook, so Haitong started with the kitchen and bought a bunch of kitchen utensils online. As for growing flowers on the balcony and buying other furniture, she wanted to wait for Jianyin to come back and ask him what he thought. After all, it's his house and she's just living there for free. After placing an order for the kitchenware, Haitong looked at the time and decided to rush back to the store to help. She grabbed her keys and her cell phone and hurried downstairs. When she returned to the store, it was time for the students to get out of school. Her good friend Shen Xiaojun asked her with concern, "Tong, what did you do this morning?" "My sister and brother-in-law have been arguing every day because of me recently. I thought it would be better to move out," Haitong said, looking at her friend and spreading her hands helplessly, "so I moved out this morning." Shen Xiaojun thought of her friend's brother-in-law, and couldn't help but sigh. Men always like to say, "I'll support you," but when they are really asked to support you, they complain about this and that, and scold you half to death. Once we women get married, we have to contribute to the family and endure all kinds of misunderstandings. It's so unfair. I think your sister should find a job. We women must always maintain financial independence. With money, we can stand up straight. But as she was talking, her eyebrows knitted together and she looked over with some doubt. "Will your sister let you move out?" "I'm married." "Oh, what? You're married? You don't even have a boyfriend. Who are you going to marry?" Shen Xiaojun nodded first, then looked at her in surprise, her voice rising a few notches. Haitong knew that these things could not be hidden from her, so she could only tell everything honestly. Shen Xiaojun stared at Haitong for a long while, then reached out and poked her forehead, saying to her, "You are so bold that you dare to get a marriage certificate the first time you meet. If you really can't find a place to live, you can move to my house. I have a lot of empty rooms. If you want to find someone to marry, you can also find my cousin." Chapter 6. Haitong smiled and said, "Your cousin has a girlfriend, why should I look for him? The marriage certificate has already been obtained, it's too late to regret. But you have to keep it a secret for me, don't let my sister know the truth, so as not to make my sister sad." Shen Xiaojun. Her friend is really courageous. The heroines in other people's novels all marry billionaires in a flash. Tong, is the one you married in a flash the same? As soon as their voice fell, Haitong tapped her friend and said with a smile, "You have read all the novels in our store, right? You are daydreaming that you can easily marry a billionaire. Do you think billionaires are everywhere?" Shen Xiaojun touched the place where her friend had knocked and felt that what she said was right. After sighing quietly, she asked again, "Where is the house your husband bought?" "Mingyuan Garden." "That's good. The environment there is good, the transportation is convenient, and it's not far from our store." "Which company does your husband work for?" "He must have a high income to be able to buy a house in Guangcheng, or a high-end community like Mingyuan Garden." "How much is the monthly payment? Do you need help to pay the mortgage?" Tong, if he asks you to help pay the mortgage, you have to ask him to add your name to the property certificate, otherwise you will be at a disadvantage. To put it bluntly, if the two of you don't have a good relationship and get divorced, the house was his before the marriage and you won't get a share. Haitong glanced at her friend and said, "You think the same thing as my sister. He bought the house in full and doesn't have to pay their mortgage. I didn't spend a penny, so it's not good for him to add my name to the property certificate." Shen Xiaojun said, "If the couple has a good relationship, it doesn't matter." Haitong suddenly remembered that the house her sister lives in now was also bought by her brother-in-law before marriage, and the mortgage was also paid by her brother-in-law. The decoration costs were all paid by her sister, but her brother-in-law has not added her sister's name to the property certificate. Haitong thought of her brother-in-law who always accused her sister of only spending money but not making money, and she felt worried. She would have to remind her sister when she had the chance some other day. Haitong doesn't close until 11 p.m. Shen Xiaojuan's home was very close to the store, and some relatives were inviting her to dinner in the evening, so Haitong asked her to go home first. After closing the door of the bookstore, Haitong took out the car keys from her trouser pocket and walked towards her electric bike. She rode her electric scooter and it took her more than 20 minutes to get back to her sister's house. After parking the scooter, she remembered that she had moved. Haitong looked up at the floor where her sister's house was and saw that the lights were off. She felt a little disappointed, but in the end she did not disturb her sister's family of 3 and rode away on her electric scooter. It was already early morning when she returned to Mingyuan Garden. When I pushed open the door and walked into their house, it was pitch black, without any trace of life. After taking out her pajamas from the suitcase and taking a hot bath, Haitong, feeling sleepy and tired, fell into bed and fell asleep. At the same time at the Guangcheng Hotel, Zhang Yin walked out of the big hotel owned by his own company surrounded by bodyguards. He had just negotiated a large business deal with a major client, and the client was arranged to stay in the presidential suite of the hotel. He thought of his newlywed wife who had just received the marriage certificate today, and decided to go home. "Master, are we going to the manor or the mountaintop villa?" The manor is the old house of the Zhang family, and the mountaintop villa is a large villa under the name of Zhang Yin. He lives in the mountaintop villa alone on a daily basis, and only occasionally returns to the Zhang family's old house to have a meal with his elders to show his filial piety. Go to Mingyuan Garden. Chapter 7. After Zhang Yin got into the Rolls-Royce, he said in a low voice, "Remember to drive the new Dongfeng commercial vehicle I bought over for me." That was used to deceive his wife. What was his wife's name? By the way, what's your eldest young lady's name? Zhang Yin was too lazy to take out the marriage certificate. Oh, when his grandmother looked at the marriage certificate, it seemed that she had not returned it to him yet. Anyway, he did not have the marriage certificate with him now. Bodyguard, the eldest young lady's surname is Hai, her given name is Tong, and she is 25 years old this year. The eldest young master must remember this. Their eldest master has a very good memory, but he can't remember the people he doesn't want to remember. Especially for women, whom the young master sees every day, he may not even know their full names. Yes, I remember that. Zhang Yin hummed casually. The bodyguard could tell from the tone of his voice that next time, their young master would definitely not remember the young mistress's name. Zhang Yin didn't want to be distracted by Haitong, so he leaned back in the car seat and closed his eyes to rest. It only takes 10 minutes by car from Guangcheng Hotel to Mingyuan Garden. The luxury car fleet stopped at the gate of Mingyuan Garden, and Zhang Yin drove the Dongfeng commercial vehicle into the community alone. Although he couldn't remember the name of his new wife, Zhang Yin still remembered the house he bought. Soon, he returned to the door of his house and saw a pair of familiar slippers at the door. Were they his slippers? How was it thrown out? It must have been Haitong who threw it. Zhang Yin's eyes were cold and his handsome face was tense. He was originally grateful to the girl who saved his grandmother, but when his grandmother kept praising her and asked him to marry her, he lost his favor for Haitong. I think Haitong is a girl with deep scheming. Although he finally agreed to marry Haitong as his grandmother wished, he made an agreement with her that after the marriage, he would hide his identity and examine Haitong's character. Only if Haitong passed the test would he and Haitong become a real couple and spend their lives together. If he finds out that Haitong is really a scheming girl, don't blame him for being rude. Anyone who dares to plot against Zhang Yin will not have a good end. Zhang Yin took out the key and tried to open the door, but it wouldn't open. Realizing that it was the woman in the room who locked the door, he became even more dissatisfied. This is his house. Let her move in, but she blocked him out. Zhang Yin got so angry that he kicked the door, making it bang loudly. At the same time, he also made a voice call to Haitong. With the previous experience as a lesson, he added Haitong's name to her WeChat handle and even added the word wife. Otherwise, he would not be able to remember who Haitong was and would delete her from his WeChat friends list. Haitong was woken up when Zhang Yin kicked the door. Who is knocking on the door in the middle of the night? Can I still sleep? Haitong was a little grumpy when she woke up, not to mention that she was woken up by someone. She threw back the quilt and came out angrily in her pajamas. The cell phone fell in the room, so she didn't know when Zhang Yin made a voice call. Who is this? Why are you knocking on my door in the middle of the night? Haitong opened the door, cursing the man standing at the door. When she saw who was at the door clearly, she was stunned and looked at Zhang Yin for a long while before she reacted. She quickly put on a smile and said awkwardly, "Mr. Zhang, it's you." Zhang Yin called her by voice, but she didn't answer, and she was getting increasingly angry. At this moment, he was too lazy to pay attention to Haitong. With a gloomy face, he walked past Haitong and went straight into their house. Haitong secretly stuck out her tongue. This is the aftermath of a flash marriage. I leaned out to take a look. Fortunately, Jean-Yin knocked on the door so loudly that he didn't wake up the neighbors. Seeing the pair of slippers at the door, Haitong bent down, picked up the slippers, went back to their house, and locked the door again. It was already early in the morning when I came back. I saw that you were not at home, so I thought you would not come back tonight, so I locked the door. Haitong explained. I'm the only woman in the house. For safety reasons, I took a pair of your slippers and placed them at the door. That way, when others see men's shoes in our house, they will know that there is a man in the house and will not dare to do anything. She has learned Sonder and doesn't take thugs seriously, but she still has a good sense of safety at home. Jean-Yin sat down on the sofa, staring at her with his dark eyes, his gaze sharp and cold. The October night was a bit chilly. With him staring at her like that, Haitong felt not just chilly, but like winter had arrived early. It was cold. Mr. Jean, I'm sorry. Haitong took his slippers, placed them at his feet and apologized. She should call and ask him if he's coming back. After a long while, Jean-Yin said coldly, I told you not to worry about me, but this is my home. I am very unhappy that you shut me out. Mr. Jean, I'm sorry. Next time I will call you in advance to ask if you are coming back. If you don't come back, I will lock the door again. Jean-Yin was silent for a moment, then said, if I'm on a business trip, I'll tell you in advance. If I don't tell you, I'll go home every day. You don't need to call me. I'm busy with work and don't have that much time to answer your boring calls. Haitong said, oh. Whatever he says, that's what it is. This house is his. He is the boss. Would you like to have a midnight snack, Mr. Jean? Haitong thought that he was so busy that he just came back now and must be hungry, so she asked kindly. I never eat midnight snacks. It makes me fat. Chapter 8. Jean-Yin cares a lot about his figure and doesn't allow himself to eat and drink too much and become fat. It's too difficult to lose weight. Haitong smiled, Mr. Jean has a great figure. Then, shall I go back to my room and sleep? Jean-Yin hummed. Good night. Haitong said good night to him and turned away. Wait, hi, Haitong. Jean-Yin called her. Haitong stopped, turned around, and asked him, anything else? Jean-Yin looked at her and said, don't come out in your pajamas from now on. She was not wearing any underwear under her pajamas, and he had sharp eyes, so he saw everything he should and shouldn't have seen. They are husband and wife, so he could just look at it, but what if it was someone else? He didn't want his wife's body to be seen by other men. Haitong blushed and quickly ran back to her room, slamming the door. Jean-Yin. He didn't feel embarrassed, but she was shy. After sitting for a while, Jean-Yin returned to his master bedroom. This house was bought on short notice and was fully furnished, so one could move in right away. However, due to the rush, his room was not tidied up. What made him quite satisfied was that Haitong was very tactful and did not shamelessly demand to sleep in the same room with him. Nor did he ask him to fulfill his responsibilities as a husband. In the second half of the night, the couple lived in peace. The next day, Haitong got up at 6 in the morning as usual. In the past, after getting up, she would first prepare breakfast and then clean the house. If she had enough time, she would also help her sister hang out the clothes to dry. It can be said that she has lived in her sister's house for several years, doing the work of a nanny, just because she didn't want her sister to be too tired. But in the eyes of her brother-in-law, it was her duty and he treated her as a nanny. When she woke up today, she looked at the unfamiliar room after sleeping all night. The memory came back to her mind and she muttered, I was confused and thought I was still at my sister's house. This is my own home. I can sleep a little longer. She fell back into bed and continued to sleep. Unfortunately, her daily routine meant that she couldn't fall asleep again even if she wanted to. I was hungry again, so I just got up. After changing clothes and washing, I walked out of the room and glanced at Jean-Yin's room. The door was still closed, so he must not have gotten up yet. That's right, I came back so late last night, how can I get up at this time? Walking into the kitchen and looking at the empty kitchen, Haitong was silent for a moment and turned around to come out. She placed an order for a lot of kitchenware yesterday, but hasn't received the goods yet. If she had known earlier, she would not have placed the order online. It would have been faster to buy it directly in the supermarket. When she moved yesterday, she remembered that there was a breakfast shop near the community. Haitong decided to go out and pack 2 breakfasts. I wonder what Zhang likes to eat. It was not convenient to wake him up to ask, so Haitong had to buy a few more things. She packed rice rolls, steamed dumplings, fried dough sticks, soy milk, and preserved egg and lean meat porridge, which are the common breakfasts for ordinary people in Dongguan. Zhang went to bed late but got up not late. He woke up after Haitong went out to buy breakfast. He was not used to having a wife and forgot about Haitong's existence for a moment. He came out shirtless and wanted to get a glass of water. At this time, Haitong opened the door and came in, and the couple met each other. The next moment, Zhang protected his chest with his hands, turned around and ran towards the room, just like Haitong last night. Haitong was stunned at first, then she started laughing. She was complaining in her heart, what's so good about a man's upper body? It's nothing more than looking at a few abdominal muscles. He actually covered his chest with both hands. Har har, she was so amused. After a while, Zhang appeared in front of Haitong again, already dressed in a suit. His face looked unhappy, but he didn't know what to say to Haitong, who told him to forget that there was a strange woman in his house, and this strange woman was his nominal wife. He usually lived in his own big villa. When he got up in the morning, he was the only one on the 2nd floor. As long as he didn't go downstairs, the servants in the house didn't dare to go upstairs. So he was a little unrestrained and sometimes came out of the room without wearing a shirt. It happened today too, and that scheming woman saw his upper body. Mr. Zhang, I packed breakfast and came back. Come and have breakfast. Even though Haitong laughed so hard that her stomach hurt, she didn't forget to eat. She placed the breakfast items she bought on the table in the restaurant and called the man, who looked like he had lost several pounds when she looked at him, to come and have breakfast. Zhang was silent for a moment, but still walked over, took a look at the breakfast she bought, and asked coldly, can't you cook for yourself? Yes, the dishes I cook are very delicious. Breakfast bought outside, especially those simple breakfast shops on the roadside, is not very hygienic. Eat less of it in the future. If you can cook your own food, cook it at home. It is hygienic and safe. As the head of the Zhang family, young Master Zhang had never eaten this kind of ordinary breakfast commonly eaten by people in Dongguan. Haitong asked him back, have you ever seen your own kitchen? It's cleaner than your face, there's nothing in it. Even if I'm a chef in a 5-star hotel, I can't cook a full banquet without kitchen utensils and ingredients. Zhang was suddenly speechless. Do you want to eat? Haitong asked him. He was also hungry. In order to prevent his wife from discovering his weakness, Zhang sat down at the dining table and said calmly, you bought it all. It would be a waste if I don't eat it. Eating it once or twice occasionally won't kill me. This is just a way to save face. Haitong gave him half of every breakfast. Then she sat down and ate her half of the breakfast while saying to him, I saw this situation when I moved in yesterday, so I ordered a lot of kitchen utensils online. When I receive everything, I will buy vegetables and cook for you in the future. I won't let you eat at street stalls anymore. He works for a big company and has a certain status in the company. He is a white-collar worker and is a bit particular. She usually cooks her own food and only orders takeout when she is at the restaurant. He is a little particular and she is willing to go along with him. We still lack a lot of things at home. Can I buy them according to my plan? Zhang looked up at his wife opposite him and continued to eat his breakfast. This was a very ordinary breakfast, but it tasted pretty good. Since we have obtained the marriage certificate, we are husband and wife. This is your home. You can decorate it however you want. Just don't touch my room. As for other places, she can do whatever she wants. Good. With his permission, Haitong decided to do as she wished. I want to plant some flowers on the balcony and buy a swing chair and put it there. In my free time, I can sit on the swing chair and read books and appreciate the flowers. By the way, Grandma told me yesterday to go back to your house with you on the weekend to have dinner and meet the elders. Zhang said calmly, let's talk about it on the weekend. I have to see if I have time. If not, I'll ask Grandma to bring my parents over so you can meet and have a meal. Haitong had no objection. Chapter 9. After eating and drinking, Zhang took out his wallet and looked through it. There was not much cash in it. Finally, he took out a bank card and placed it in front of Haitong. Haitong looked at him with raised eyebrows. You need money to buy something, so this bank card is for you to use. The password is. He found a pen and paper, wrote the password on the paper, and handed it to Haitong. From now on, the money in this card will be yours for household use. I will deposit money into it every month after I get paid. But you have to keep a record of everything you buy. I don't mind how much you spend, but I want to know where you spend your money. When they first got their marriage certificate, Haitong asked him if they wanted to go on an AA basis, but he refused. Since they were married, husband and wife, they were a family, and he didn't mind giving her some money to spend. Anyway, he has so much money that even he can't count it, and he doesn't know how much he really has. He is usually busy at work and doesn't spend much money, so supporting a wife can help him spend some money. But he couldn't be a sucker. In his heart, Haitong was a scheming woman, so of course he had to be on guard against her. As long as she spent all her money on this little home, he had no objection to how she spent it. Haitong doesn't like Zhang Yin's attitude and the way he does things. She pushed the bank card and the paper with the password written on it back to Zhang Yin without even looking at the password. Mr. Zhang, this home belongs to more than just you. I live here too. You bought their house, and if I move in, I can save the rent. The expenses of this small home cannot be paid by you alone. I will pay for the things you need to buy at home. Unless you are buying furniture worth more than 2,000 yuan, I will discuss it with you and you can give me whatever you think is appropriate. Her income was not low and she could cover the family's daily expenses. Unless she needed to spend a lot of money, she would not need him to pay for it. It wasn't that she couldn't accept him paying, but it was mainly his attitude that made Haitong unhappy, as if she would cover his little household money. He also asked her to keep accounts. She usually bought things, and except for the expenses in the store, she would keep accounts for her daily life. Zhang Yin is not stupid, on the contrary, he is very smart. Haitong's refusal made him realize that his attitude hurt Haitong's self-esteem. After a moment of silence, he pushed the bank card and the paper with the password over to her. His tone became gentler and he said, I know how much money you can make by running a store and being your own boss. Since you said this home is our home, you have a share and I have a share, how can I let you bear all the expenses of a family alone? Take it. If you don't like to keep accounts, then don't keep accounts. How have you considered buying a car? Do you want me to help you with the down payment? With your income, it shouldn't be a problem to afford a car. He didn't deliberately investigate how much her income was, but the fact that she was able to open a bookstore in front of Wanqing Middle School showed that she was somewhat capable and that she would earn a lot of money. These days, the money of women and children was the easiest to earn. My home is not far from my shop, so I can ride an electric scooter. The traffic in Dongguan is prone to traffic jams during rush hour. Driving a four-wheeled vehicle is not as good as my two-wheeled vehicle. Zhang Yin choked. What she said was true. He usually goes to work during off-peak hours. Occasionally, he has to go out for urgent matters during rush hour, and the traffic jams make him question his life and he even wants to take a private plane. It's more convenient to have a car. You can drive your sister and nephew for a short weekend trip on weekends. Zhang Yin remembered that his grandmother said that this woman depended on her sister for everything, and the people she cared about most were her sister and nephew. Let's talk about it later. We just got married and we don't know each other well. I feel uncomfortable spending so much money on a car. In fact, my own savings are enough to buy a car, but I want to buy a house more. Only with a house can I have a family. I am not your man. Men prefer to buy cars. Men and women have different choices when it comes to buying a house and a car. Women generally choose a house, while men generally choose a car. By the way, my sister wants to see you, but I told her that you are on a business trip recently, so I will take you back to see her later. Zhang Yin hummed. After the couple chatted, Haitong went to dry clothes. Zhang Yin sat in the hall, wanting to read the newspaper. This small family had not subscribed to a newspaper yet, and he could not find the newspaper. He had to take out his mobile phone to read the news to pass the time. Have you washed your clothes? After Haitong finished drying her clothes, she casually asked the man who was playing with his cell phone on the sofa. I'll take care of it myself. All his clothes were sent to the dry cleaners for dry cleaning. Haitong pursed her lips, stopped talking, and continued to do her other things. Sweep the floor, mop the floor, and clean the house. Zhang Yin watched her figure moving around in the house, doing the work of a servant. He frowned and wanted to say something, but after thinking about it, he said nothing. In their home, this kind of thing is done by the servants, but in ordinary people's homes, it is often the wife who takes care of all the housework. Fortunately, before they moved in, his housekeeper arranged for a maid to come and clean the house, so it was very clean. She swept around and didn't find any garbage. After finishing her daily routine, Haitong returned to her room, tidied up a bit, and came out with her phone bag. She said to the man on the sofa, "Mr. Jean, I'm going to visit my sister's house first, and then go back to the store. What time will you be back tonight? Send me a message and I'll leave the door open for you. Except when I'm on a business trip, I'll be back every night. If I'm on a business trip, I'll tell you in advance." Haitong hummed. "Hi, Haitong, take this bank card." Jean stood up with the bank card and walked to Haitong, handed the card to her again, and apologized to her. "My tone of voice just now was not very good, I apologize to you, I'm sorry." Haitong looked at him for a moment and felt that he was much more sincere this time, so she took the bank card and put it into her trouser pocket together with the paper with the password written on it. "I'm leaving." "Good." Jean stood there and watched Haitong go out. When the door was closed, he actually breathed a sigh of relief. He doesn't seem to be playing the role of husband very well. Sitting back on the sofa, Jean picked up the phone on the coffee table and called the housekeeper of the old house. After the housekeeper answered the phone, he said in a low voice, "Uncle Yarn, when the old lady gets up, tell her to bring a few gentlemen and ladies to Mingyuan Garden for dinner this weekend. The old lady will understand what's going on." Chapter 10. Haitong went to her sister's house. I opened the door and went into the room, and found that my sister had already gotten up and was busy in the kitchen. "Sister. Tong Tong, you're here." Hai Ling came out of the kitchen and was very happy to see her sister. "Have you eaten?" "I'm making noodles." "Can I make you a bowl too?" "No, I've eaten." "Sister, have you cooked the noodles? If not, don't cook. I'll pack breakfast for you and Yarn Yarn." "Not yet. Yarn Yarn had a fever yesterday, and I didn't sleep much the whole night. I got up late in the morning, so your brother-in-law went out for breakfast. He also scolded me, saying that I did nothing at home all day, just took care of the child, and didn't know how to get up early to make breakfast for him." Hai Ling felt a little aggrieved. Haitong was furious when she heard this. "Why did Yarn Yarn have a fever? Even if the fever has subsided, you should take her to see a doctor to prevent it from happening again. What a shameless brother-in-law. The child is sick, but he doesn't help and even scolds you." "Sister, I've moved out. Does my brother-in-law still insist on going on a 5-5 basis with you?" Hai Ling sat down on the sofa, opened the noodle soup her sister had packed for her, and said while eating, "I'll take Yarn Yarn to see it later. He still insisted on splitting the bill with me, saying that I only know how to spend money and not how to make money, and that I don't know how much pressure he is under. Since we are family, I have to bear the family expenses as well. This must have been taught to him by his sister. My eldest sister-in-law is married and still keeps meddling in her family's affairs. Your brother-in-law used to be very nice to me, but he was taught badly by his eldest sister." In fact, before resigning, Hai Ling had already worked as a financial director in the company with a considerable income. She sacrificed so much for love and marriage, but in return she received insults from her in-laws. She only spends money on this small family. She buys clothes for herself with the money given by her younger sister. She hasn't bought new clothes for a long time, not to mention cosmetics. But every time she bought new clothes or cosmetics, her mother-in-law and elder sister-in-law would scold her for spending money recklessly. Even if she explained that the money was given to her by her younger sister, her mother-in-law and elder sister-in-law would say that since the money was given to her, it was the common property of the family and she could not spend it recklessly. "Sis, why don't you send Yarn Yarn to kindergarten? You can go back to work and earn no less money than your brother-in-law." Haitong feels very sorry for her sister. When she lived here in the past, she took care of almost all the housework in her sister's family to avoid her sister from being so tired. Now that she has moved away, her sister has more things to do. Your brother-in-law said that he would wait until Yarn Yarn is 3 or 4 years old before sending him to kindergarten. Hai Ling also wanted to go to work. Apart from other things, the family's current mortgage and car loan, as well as the cost of supporting the elderly, added together, the burden on the family was too heavy. Haitong frowned, feeling that her brother-in-law's attitude towards her sister was getting worse and worse, so she couldn't help but ask, "Sister, do you think my brother-in-law has someone else outside? Hailing was shocked and said, that shouldn't be the case. I know his income very well. He doesn't have any extra money to support a mistress. But my brother-in-law's attitude towards me is getting worse and worse. Sister, you still have to plan for your future. You can't be a full-time mother at home with no income but no understanding and sympathy. Hailing was silent for a moment, then said, let's talk about it later. Tong Tong, don't worry about me. I can live a good life. How are you? When will my brother-in-law come back from his business trip? It will take some time. He works for a large group and is very busy. Hailing asked her sister about her life in her new home in detail again, and only felt relieved after she was sure that her sister was doing well. After seeing her nephew, Haitong had to go back to the store at her sister's urging. She was riding her electric scooter to the bookstore, but she was still thinking about her sister's messy life. She was distracted and didn't pay attention to the road conditions. She was almost hit by a car. She was so scared that she turned to the side quickly and narrowly avoided the car. She also stopped the car. The car also braked urgently and stopped. Haitong looked at the car and it turned out to be a Rolls-Royce. What a luxury car. There were several identical sedans following behind the Rolls-Royce. I guess the people in the cars were the bodyguards of the luxury car owners. It is not uncommon to see luxury cars in a big city like Dongguan. Haitong made an apologetic gesture to the driver, then quickly started the electric bike again and drove away. Afraid of being scolded. The driver turned to the man in black in the back seat and said, Master, that was the mistress. Zhang Yin's face was gloomy. He saw clearly that Haitong almost hit their car. She was obviously distracted. She was riding her bike on a busy road, but she was distracted. Did she want to die? Chapter 11. Let's go. Zhang Yin cursed Haitong in his heart, but he didn't say anything, let alone do anything. Haitong was nominally his wife, but the two of them were actually no different from strangers. The driver didn't dare to say another word and started the car again. Haitong didn't know that she almost hit her man's luxury car. She rode her electric scooter all the way and soon returned to the store. Shen Xiaojuan's house was nearby, and she always arrived at the store before Haitong. Tong Tong. After Xiaojun finished her work, she ordered herself a breakfast. While she was eating, she saw her friend coming over and asked her with a smile, have you eaten yet? Have eaten. Xiaojun said, oh, and went on eating her breakfast. I brought you 2 boxes of snacks. They are delicious. Try them. Xiaojun picked up a bag and put it on the cashier counter and said to her friend. Haitong placed the key of the electric bike on the cashier counter, then sat down and unceremoniously took the bag of 2 boxes of snacks. As long as it's dessert, I think it's delicious. Xiaojun, I saw a Rolls-Royce on my way to work. Shen Xiaojun said, it's normal to see a Rolls-Royce in Wanchen, but it's not common. Did you see the person in the car? Is he like what's written in the novel, a big CEO, a handsome guy, and still unmarried? Haitong looked at her without saying anything. Shen Xiaojun laughed, I'm just curious why there are so many young, handsome and wealthy CEOs in novels, and why we can't meet any of them. Novels are all written to cater to the market. If I wrote about an ordinary working class, would anyone follow me? Even if they are not big CEOs, they are elites in various industries. Shen Xiaojun smiled again. By the way, Tong Tong, are you free tonight? I go between the store and home every day. Is there something wrong? Her life is simple. Besides managing the business in the store, she helps her sister take care of the children. There's a banquet tonight, an upper-class banquet, and there are spots available. Do you want to go with us to see the world and broaden your horizons? Haitong refused instinctively, that's not the circle I should be in. I don't want to go there. Her monthly income is not low, but it is too far away from the upper-class circle. She doesn't want to squeeze in, nor can she. To put it bluntly, if someone of her status attends such a high-end banquet, she will only be treated as a servant. Actually, I didn't want to go either, but my mom asked my aunt to get me an invitation. Each invitation allows me to bring one more person, and I thought of you, Tong Tong. Good Tong Tong, please accompany me to see the world. No, accompany me to deal with it, so that my mom won't nag me until my ears are covered with calluses. The Shen family is a native of Dongguan City and is also a wealthy family. They own several houses and half a street of shops that collect rent. Their assets are at least tens of millions. Of course, they are still far from those famous aristocrats. Mother Shin was most satisfied with her daughter's appearance, so she wanted her daughter to marry into a real wealthy family and become a lady. It just so happened that Shin Xiaojuan's aunt was married into a wealthy family and became a lady. After decades of hard work, she had made it and was doing well in upper-class society. Aunt Shin also doted on her niece Xiaojun and felt that her niece was barely qualified to marry into a wealthy family. As soon as her sister-in-law mentioned it, she was happy to help her niece create opportunities. Auntie is urging me to get married again. All mothers in the world are the same. After raising their daughters, they urge them to get married every day, as if I eat a lot of her rice at home. I can make money by myself, I am financially independent, and I live a carefree life. Why do I need to find a man? Isn't my life good enough? Even if I have to marry, I'd rather marry someone of the same level. I don't want to marry into a wealthy family. Although my aunt is very popular in that circle now, she has been doing it for decades. When she first married into my uncle's family, I don't know how much grievance she suffered. When she went back to her parents' home, she always cried to my mother in private. She knows the feeling best. Shin Xiaojun advocates freedom and does not want to be bound by the rules of a wealthy family. Tong Tong, how about we go tonight to have a look? My aunt said that there will be many young talents attending the banquet tonight. They are all the business tycoons and second-generation and third-generation rich people in Dongguan. We are not going to catch a rich husband, but we can also go and see some of the food. Let me tell you, there are many delicious foods at the banquet. Haitong is a foodie. So is Shin Xiaojun. If two people can become good friends, it means they have similar interests. After an hour of persuasion from her friend, Haitong finally agreed to her friend's request, closed the shop early in the evening, and accompanied her friend to the banquet. She called her sister and asked if her nephew was okay, saying that he just had a cold and had a low fever. He had already seen a doctor. Haitong felt relieved. At the same time, I also told my sister that I would accompany Xiaojun to the banquet in the evening. It's good to see the world, and of course, it's also good to make friends at that level. Hai Ling was very much in favor of her sister attending the party. There is no need to have any other purpose, just go there to see the world and broaden your horizons. In preparation for the evening banquet, the shop was closed after lunch, and Shin Xiaojun dragged her friend home to change clothes and put on makeup. Everyone in the Shin family likes Haitong very much. No one has any objection to Shin Xiaojun bringing Haitong to the banquet. After all, Haitong is married, so they don't have to worry about Haitong stealing Xiaojuan's limelight. In the evening, just after 6 o'clock, the luxury car arranged by Aunt Shin stopped at the door of the Shin family. Have fun. Mother Shin sent the two girls out and said to Haitong, Tong Tong, help Auntie keep an eye on Xiaojun. Don't let her just focus on eating. She should interact more with young talents. Then he said to his daughter, Xiaojun, please don't let your aunt down. Haitong smiled and said, Auntie, don't worry, I will help you keep an eye on Xiaojun and won't let her just focus on eating. They both ate together. Auntie, don't worry, I'm here with you. Mother Shin likes Haitong very much because this girl is very sensible and self-reliant. If her son was not several years younger than Haitong, she would want to match Haitong with her son. After knowing Haitong's flash marriage, Shin's mother was still shocked. Their Shin family had many young people, and if Haitong wanted to get married, she could pick someone from the Shin family at any time. Now that things have come to this, no matter how regretful Mother Shin is, she will never mention those things again. At the urging of Shin's mother, Shin Xiaojun, who was wearing a white evening dress, exquisite makeup and lots of jewels, quickly pulled her friend into the luxury car arranged by her aunt. Since Haitong was married and was attending the party with her good friend, she did not even change her clothes and insisted on wearing her daily clothes. However, she put on some light makeup. Her simple dress could not hide her natural beauty. Chapter 12. The banquet was held at the Wanqing Hotel, a place Haitong would never normally visit. Wanqing Hotel is one of the most luxurious hotels in the city, and is known as a 7-star hotel. Haitong doesn't know whether it is a 7-star hotel or not, and she doesn't pay attention to these things. Aunt Shin arrived at the hotel earlier than Haitong and the others. After greeting the ladies she knew, she let her son and daughter go into their hotel first, while she stayed at the hotel entrance waiting for her niece from her mother's side to arrive. Aunt Shin smiled when she saw the car she had arranged to pick up her niece slowly approaching behind the other vehicles. After a while, Shin Xiaojun took Haitong and walked towards her aunt. Aunt. Aunt Shen. Haitong followed her friends to greet Aunt Shen. When Aunt Shen knew that her niece brought Haitong here, she was a little bothered. She had seen Haitong before and had to admit that this child who had lost her parents looked better than her niece. Although her family conditions were ordinary, she had a sense of nobility, and her every move revealed the aura of a lady from a famous family. She was worried that Haitong would steal the limelight from her niece, and only when her sister-in-law told her that Haitong was married did Aunt Shen feel relieved. Seeing that Haitong was not even wearing a dress, but ordinary clothes, with a little light makeup and no jewelry, her natural beauty was immediately covered up by her niece's heavy makeup. Aunt Shen was satisfied and felt that Haitong was really tactful and sensible. I'm here. I'll take you in. Xiao Jun, take out your invitation letter. We'll need to check it and register when we get in. Shen Xiaojun hurriedly took out her invitation letter. When we get in, you two should watch more and talk less. I will introduce you to someone when the time is right. Tong Tong, you have always been more stable than Xiaojun. You should keep an eye on Xiaojun and don't let her get into trouble. Wanqing Hotel is one of the many hotels of the richest man's family. Their young masters may also show up at the banquet tonight. Aunt Shen whispered to her niece, Xiaojun, if you can get the favor of the young masters of the richest family, it will be a great blessing for our Shen family. The richest family is not only low-key, but also has a very good family tradition. There are not so many things fighting for power and profit. The main thing is that the men in their family are very reliable and rarely have lovers outside. Your cousin is still young and can't get married. Otherwise, your aunt would definitely give priority to your cousin for such a good thing. No matter how close a niece is, she can never be as close as a daughter. It's just that her daughter is only 17 years old and not yet an adult, so it's too early to talk about marriage. Shen Xiaojun, aunt, the threshold of the richest family in Wanqing is higher than mine, so I won't have such daydreams. She just came here to eat and drink. Haitong listened beside him without interrupting. She was originally just a foil, and her purpose was to eat and drink. She heard that the food at the Wanqing Hotel was particularly delicious. What's the richest man's surname? Shen Xiaojun doesn't daydream, but that doesn't stop her from asking around. The surname is Zhan. The one with the surname Zhan is quite special. Shen Xiaojun lightly touched her friend. The man her friend had a flash marriage with was also named Zhan. Haitong knew what her friend meant, so she smiled and said nothing. Although her Mr. Zhan's surname was also Zhan, he had nothing to do with the richest man's family. They just had the same surname. There were too many people with the same surname in the world, and there were quite a few with the same surname and the same name. Although the Zhan family is the richest, their threshold is not high at all. As long as you have good character and can be liked by the men in their family, the elders will not be picky and are particularly open-minded. Aunt Shen actually dared to think about the Zhan family on behalf of her niece. Her niece is pretty and has good character. Her family background is also quite wealthy. Although it is not as rich as the richest man's, it is better than countless others. Shen Xiaojun didn't respond, which made Aunt Shen so angry that she wanted to pull her niece's ears. Finally, she said helplessly, you two go in first. Aunt sees someone she knows, go say hello. Aunt, let's go in first. Shen Xiaojun quickly pulled Haitong away. She didn't need to listen to her aunt's nagging anymore. She was just like her biological mother. No wonder her aunt had such a good relationship with her mother. They were the same type of people. It was Haitong's first time to step into the Wanqing Hotel, but Shen Xiaojun had been there countless times. She brought her good friend, took 2 plates of food with ease, and hid in a corner. We don't know those ladies, and even if we go to say hello, they won't pay any attention to us. Tong Tong, let's eat. We just come here to broaden our horizons and see what a banquet in high society is like. Haitong smiled and said, Auntie would be so angry if she knew you came here just for food. She also came for food. Shen Xiaojun said nonchalantly, with my conditions, how could I dare to dream of the young talents who appeared here tonight? My aunt is just daydreaming, and she still fantasized that I can be favored by the young masters of the richest family. Tong Tong, do you think I am a beauty or a gorgeous lady? I am a pretty girl like me, but I want to be in the eyes of the richest man's son. Har har, it's a pity that my aunt dared to think so. Let's ignore what they think and eat quickly. There are many delicious foods in Wanqing Hotel. I have eaten here before, but I dare not order some dishes because they are too expensive. I will try them all tonight. Thanks to you, I can have a taste of it too. Haitong doesn't care even more than Shin Xiaojun. She is a married person. The two of them hid in the corner, eating and drinking, feeling so comfortable. Suddenly, everyone in the hotel looked towards the hotel entrance. The scene became quiet. The two people who were enjoying their meal suddenly realized that something was wrong. Haitong nudged her friend and asked, Xiaojun, why are they all silent and looking at the door? Who's here? I don't know. Shin Xiaojun stood up, and Haitong followed. The two of them stood on tiptoe and looked towards the hotel entrance. Unfortunately, there were too many people at the scene, a dense crowd, and the two of them couldn't see clearly who entered the hotel. Such a grand ceremony would make everyone in the hotel stand and stare. Zhang Yin, dressed in a suit and leather, walked into his own hotel surrounded by a group of bodyguards. The host of the banquet tonight is an old business tycoon. The Zhang family has a close relationship with that business tycoon. As the head of the Zhang family of this generation, Zhang Yin has to give that tycoon some face, especially since the banquet is being held in his own hotel. So after finishing the important matters, he showed up at the banquet. He is tall and handsome, and even though his face is always tense and dignified, he is still a big magnet. No matter where he goes, he can become the focus of the crowd. Boss Zhang. Boss Zhang. As Zhang Yin walked in, he could hear everyone's respectful greetings. Those CEOs with high enough status went straight to meet them. Zhang Yin nodded politely as a response to everyone's greetings. Chapter 13. He walked in surrounded by the crowd and did not notice his newlywed wife in the corner. Haitong's eyes could not penetrate the crowd and fall on the face of her man. She stood on tiptoe and looked for a long time but didn't see the real owner, so she lost interest, sat down again, and pulled her friend and said, no need to look. There are so many people, we can't see it. Let's eat. For her, eating is the most important thing on tonight's trip. Tong Tong, wait here for me. I'll go find my aunt and ask who came just now. It was such a big scene, just like the emperor coming. Shin Xiaojun is very curious. Haitong hummed casually. Shin Xiaojun walked away alone. Haitong finished eating all the food she had taken. She stood up with her empty plate. While everyone was looking at the important person, she could take the food easily without having to endure other people's strange stares and looks. After Zhang Yin came in, the first thing he did was to chat with the boss who was hosting the banquet tonight. The bodyguards around him all had serious expressions, listening in all directions and paying attention to the movements around them. Their eldest young master didn't like women to get too close to him. Their main task every time they followed the young master to a banquet was to protect him from people with bad intentions. The famous bodyguard was probably the tallest and had the longest vision. When he inspected the scene instinctively, he seemed to see the figure of his eldest lady. Zhang Yin concealed his true identity when he got the marriage certificate with Haitong, but as Zhang Yin's personal bodyguards, they dared not fail to recognize the eldest young lady. Therefore, besides the old lady, the person who was most familiar with Haitong was the bodyguard besides Zhang Yin. The bodyguard thought he was seeing things, but when he looked carefully, he saw that it was really their eldest lady. The eldest young lady was not affected by the eldest young master's visit at all. She took 2 plates and chose her favorite food on her own. Soon, the 2 plates were full. The eldest young lady took the 2 plates of food and left, and finally sat down at a table in the corner. Enjoy the food as if nothing happened. Bodyguard. After Zhang Yin had spoken to several familiar bosses, the bodyguard took the opportunity to get close to him and whispered, Master, I saw the madam. Hearing this, Zhang Yin frowned, then returned to normal and asked in a low and cold voice, why is she here? Have no idea. Keep an eye on her, don't let her see me. Also, who she came with, who she interacted with, and secretly take photos. In Zhang Yin's heart, Haitong has not yet escaped the suspicion of being a scheming woman. He guessed that Haitong appeared here because she wanted to climb up the ladder and climb higher. Because he concealed his identity, Haitong might think he was just a working-class person. The bodyguard responded respectfully. Zhang Yin continued to chat and laugh with the bosses as if nothing had happened. These big bosses often made deals while chatting and laughing. Haitong had no idea that she had been seen and targeted by her husband's bodyguards. After Shin Xiaojun came back after finding out everything, she asked casually, how was it? Did you find out? I found out that it was the eldest son of the Zhang family, the head of the Zhang group. However, I didn't see young Master Jean because there were too many people. He was followed by a group of bodyguards. My aunt told me with regret that young Master Jean didn't like the opposite sex to approach him. Every time he attended a banquet, the bodyguards surrounded him and blocked any single women who wanted to chat with him. Haitong said, "Oh," and didn't care. "Tong Tong, the person you married suddenly is also named Jean. Do you really think it doesn't matter? There aren't many people with the surname Jean, and the richest man's family is also named Jean." Chapter 14. Shin Xiaojun picked up a glass of red wine and took a sip. "You've read too many novels. There are so many people with the same name and surname in the world, not to mention the same surname. Look at the richest man in Hong Kong, whose surname is Li. Are all people with the surname Li his family members?" Shin Xiaojun smiled and said, "That's right. My husband is just a worker. He drives a Dongfeng commercial vehicle, which is only worth 120,000 or 30,000 yuan. Do you think the young master of the Jean family would drive such a car? You, stop making wild guesses. Haitong never fantasizes about becoming a phoenix. She thinks it's okay to dream, but not to have daydreams that are out of touch with reality. Speaking of which, Master Jean is so resistant to young women approaching him. Is he gay? Is he married?" Haitong was not interested in what the eldest son of the Jean family looked like. Instead, she felt that the reason why the eldest son of the Jean family was so wary of young women approaching him was that he was either aloof or had a problem. He might even be gay. "I haven't heard about his marriage. Although we are from the lower class, young Master Jean is the head of the Jean family. If he gets married, the wedding will definitely make a sensation in the whole city of Wanchen. There will be news about his wedding on the internet and in newspapers. We haven't heard about his wedding, so I guess he is still unmarried." Shin Xiaojun put down his wine glass. "Now that you put it that way, I also think there might be something wrong with him. It's very abnormal for such an outstanding man to not even have a girlfriend. We can't guess what rich people are thinking. Let's eat. We'll leave when we're full." Shin Xiaojun nodded, and the two girls ate and drank as if no one was around. Many people saw the two of them. Some of them just glanced and looked away, while others looked at them with disgust and ridicule. They wondered which rich girl brought a young servant to the banquet. She looked like she hadn't eaten good food for 800 years and spent the whole night hiding in a corner eating and drinking. These two girls really love to eat. Sister June. Aunt Shin's son Zhang Nianxin came over. He was 3 years younger than Shin Xiaojun, and the two cousins had a good relationship since childhood. He went to a social event with his parents, and his mother suddenly remembered his cousin and asked him to look for her everywhere. "Nianxin, come and sit down." Shin Xiaojun pulled a chair for his cousin to sit down. Haitong smiled at Zhang Nianxin, and Zhang Nianxin's handsome face seemed to blush. He raised his glass to Haitong and asked with a smile, "Sister Haitong, don't you drink?" "I seldom drink." Haitong's main problem is that she can't drink alcohol well and doesn't dare to drink easily. How could someone who could sleep for an entire afternoon after drinking a bottle of beer dare to drink recklessly? If she passed out here drunk, it would not only embarrass her, but also her best friend and Aunt Shin's family. Then have a glass of milk or juice. "Can I get a glass for Sister Haitong?" Zhang Nianxin stood up and was about to leave. Haitong instinctively pulled him back and said, "Nianxin, you don't have to go. I'm already full and can't drink any more." Zhang Nianxin had no choice but to sit down. "Sister Jun, did you and Sister Haitong sit here all night?" Zhang Nianxin said with a headache, "My mother meant to introduce you to some good men, but every time I turned around to look for Sister Jun, I found that Sister Jun was not around. My mother was with those wives and it was not easy for her to leave, so she asked me to look for Sister June." Chapter 15. Shin Xiaojun was also full and said with a smile, "Nianxin, your Sister Jun is really not interested in those young talents. Your Sister Haitong and I came here just to broaden our horizons and taste the food here. It really deserves to be called a 7-star hotel. The food here is especially delicious. Your Sister Haitong and I are very satisfied with the meal." Zhang Nianxin. "Now that we've both had enough to eat and drink, it's getting late. Nianxin, your Sister Haitong and I will leave first. Please tell my aunt." Zhang Nianxin was quite anxious. He looked at Haitong twice and said, "Sister Jun, are you leaving now? The party is only halfway through. It's still early. How can it end at 11 o'clock in the evening?" Haitong said, Your sister and I have to open the store for business tomorrow, so we can't stay home until 11 o'clock at night. The two men stood up and Zhang Yinxing followed. Actually, it's okay to open the door later. Zhang Yinxing followed Haitong and tried his best to keep the two sisters playing for a while longer. That won't do. We make money 3 times a day, morning, noon and night. If you miss the morning, you'll lose a lot of money. Shen Xiaojun patted her cousin on the shoulder, smiled and said jokingly, Nianxin, have fun and see if there is any girl you like. Although you are still young, it is okay to fall in love. Zhang Yinxin glanced at Haitong secretly again, his face flushed, and he said shyly, Sister Jun, I just graduated from college. I will consider getting married after I have worked for a few years. Haitong said casually, boys don't have to be too anxious. Nianxing is only 22 years old. It's okay to consider it in 2 years. Zhang Yinxing nodded repeatedly, not wanting to hear Haitong sigh again. When I met Nianxing, he was still a young boy, and in the blink of an eye he has grown up so big. Zhang Yinxin, who failed to keep the two sisters, sent them out of their hotel. Sister Jun, you didn't drive here. Your mother arranged a car to pick us up. Shen Xiaojun said nonchalantly, Tong Tong and I can just call a taxi. Nianxin, go in and tell my aunt that we're leaving first. Have fun. There were also many people at the hotel entrance. Everyone glanced at Shen Xiaojun and Haitong and thought they looked unfamiliar, so no one came over to talk to them. The two did not want to get in a car at the hotel entrance, so they walked to the street and hailed a taxi. They said to Zhang Yinxin, who had been sending them out, Nianxin, hurry back to their hotel. We are leaving. Zhang Yinxin waved goodbye reluctantly and watched the two sisters get into the taxi and drive away. He stood on the side of the road for a long time before turning around and walking back. At the hotel entrance, he met Zhang Yin, who had just come out of the hotel. Zhang Yin was still the center of attention, with a group of bodyguards following him, highlighting his kingly demeanor. When Zhang Yinxing saw him, he instinctively stopped and moved to the side to make way for Zhang Yin. Master Zhang. However, Zhang Yin stopped when passing by Zhang Yinxing and greeted him politely. Zhang Yinxing was flattered and smiled, Mr. Zhang. Others were a little surprised to see Zhang Yin and Zhang Yinxing greeting each other. The Zhang family was a wealthy family, but they had no connection with the Zhang family. In everyone's eyes, Zhang Yinxing was still a young boy. Although he had already started working in his own group, he started from the grassroots level. Currently, Zhang Yinxing was just a small employee in the Zhang family company. Zhang Yin has always been unattainable, but he actually greeted Zhang Yinxing. Was he trying to establish a good relationship with Zhang Yinxing because he saw that he would be the successor of the Zhang family? Or did he think that the Zhang family had a bright future? Mr. Zhang and Anshin followed the crowd to see Zhang Yin out of their hotel. When they saw Zhang Yin actually greeted their son, the couple were both surprised and delighted. Chapter 16. In the business world of Wanqin, whoever can gain Zhang Yin's favor is like having a cheat code in life, and his future is limitless. The couple brought their son to the party simply because they wanted their children to make friends and pave their way for their future. Master Zhang, just now. I just came back from sending my two sisters out for the bus. Without waiting for Zhang Yin to finish his question, Zhang Yinxing took the initiative to explain what he had just done, fearing that Zhang Yin would misunderstand that he didn't like this kind of occasion and disliked the hotel's poor service. Wanqing Hotel is one of the hotels under the Zhang family. Zhang Yin hummed and walked past Zhang Yinxing, as if he was just greeting Zhang Yinxing out of politeness. Zhang Yinxing hadn't figured out the situation yet. He only knew that a group of people, surrounding Zhang Yin, walked past him, and he instantly became a marginal figure. When Zhang Yin attended a banquet, he would usually just show up and leave, and everyone was used to it. The bosses who had just seized the opportunity to discuss business with Zhang Yin were secretly delighted. Fortunately, they acted quickly and seized the opportunity. Soon, the Rolls-Royce with the license plate number XX8888 left the Wanqing Hotel under the escort of several bodyguard cars. Master, where are you going back to? The driver asked as he drove. Zhang Yin looked at his watch. It was only 9:30 in the evening. This time was very early for him. He thought for a moment and said, let's go to Mingyuan Garden. The driver responded and said he knew. To Zhang Yin's surprise, he actually arrived home earlier than Haitong. Returning to the empty little home without warmth than others, Zhang Yin sat on the sofa, watching TV boredly, waiting for his wife who had left the hotel earlier than him but had not returned home yet. The bodyguard filmed Haitong's every move at the banquet and sent them to his mobile phone. Jianyin flipped through the photos one by one. It was as if that woman hadn't eaten anything delicious for 800 years. All she did was eat. However, it is better for her to hide in the corner and eat than to seduce other men. Looking at her dress, Jianyin frowned. She didn't even wear an evening gown, which was too casual. Of course, if she dressed up and appeared at the party, he would definitely lock the door and not let her come back. Apart from Zhang Yinxin, she didn't talk to other opposite sexes. Zhang Yinxin was the cousin of her best friend, and they should have known each other for a long time. Finally, Jianyin stared at a photo, his thin lips tightly pursed, and his eyes gradually became deep and cold. Even if the bodyguard was taking a secret photo, the angle was quite tricky, and he just happened to capture the scene of Zhang Yinxin peeking at Haitong. As the head of the Zhang group, Jianyin's eyes were as sharp as a razor. Such a subtle scene fell into his eyes and he also saw it. Zhang Yinxin likes Haitong. He actually has a love rival. The door lock made a noise. Jianyin immediately put his phone back into his pocket and stopped looking at the photos. Haitong opened the door and came in. She was quite surprised to see Jianyin sitting on the sofa watching TV. She closed the door and locked it, and asked him, "Mr. Zhan, don't you have to work overtime tonight?" Chapter 17. Jianyin hummed in a low voice. Haitong came over with a small transparent plastic bag in her hand. "I bought some stinky tofu, do you want some?" Jianyin glared at her with a dark face. All she did at the banquet was eat and eat. Wasn't she full yet? What a foodie. Stinky tofu smells bad, but the more you eat it, the better it tastes. My favorite man used to love it. Haitong sat down next to Jianyin and opened the bag. The smell of stinky tofu wafted out. Jianyin moved to the side unnoticeably, trying to keep some distance so as not to be choked by the smell that he was not used to. Your favorite man? The one on the RMB. Jianyin, money to him is just a string of numbers on a bank card. Would you like to try a piece? It's delicious, really. It tastes very fragrant. I like it very much. I don't want it, you eat it yourself. Also, can you eat it outside on the balcony? I can't stand the smell. Seeing that he looked like he was about to vomit, Haitong hurriedly walked away with the bag, muttering to herself, people with high incomes must be particularly refined in their lives. On the balcony, Haitong was eating happily. Jianyin could see her back from inside the room. Her handsome face looked gloomy, but he didn't know what to say. Everyone has different preferences. Mr. Zhan, you don't have to work overtime tonight, so can you get up earlier tomorrow? Haitong asked the man in the room from the balcony. Jianyin was silent for a while before he asked coldly, "What's the matter?" He was probably born to be a cold person. From the first time I met him, he always spoke in a cold voice. Haitong complained in her heart, but she was living with him, and if one day they couldn't live together anymore, they would get divorced. Tomorrow I want you to drive me to the flower shop in the market to buy some potted flowers and put them on the balcony. You have a car, so it will be convenient. Jianyin didn't respond. If you can't get up that early, you can lend me your car and I'll go there by myself. What time is it? After an inner struggle, Jianyin asked her the time and decided to get up early the next morning to accompany her to the flower shop in the market to buy some potted flowers to decorate their balcony. 6 o'clock, let's have breakfast first and then go buy flowers, and buy some daily necessities for their house. On the first day of moving in, Haitong discovered that the house was missing a lot of things. She even suspected that Jianyin did not live at home before she moved in, and there was no atmosphere of life at all. Good. Jianyin agreed. When Haitong came in after finishing her stinky tofu, Jianyin asked her, "Is your store closing so early tonight?" Chapter 18. I'm not in the store tonight. My friend is going to a banquet and asked me to accompany her. By the way, Mr. Zhan, I want to ask you something. Is it convenient for you to answer? Haitong sat down opposite Jianyin, looking at the man opposite with her beautiful big eyes. Although he was indifferent and always cold, and his attitude towards her was not very good, she knew that he had built a defense line in his heart, not to guard against others, but only against her. But he is really good looking, like a beautiful scenery, pleasing to the eyes. Tonight's banquet is held at the Guanqing Hotel. I heard that the Guanqing Hotel belongs to the richest man's family, and the richest man's eldest son is here tonight. I heard that his surname is also Jean. Mr. Jean has no relationship with the richest man's family, right? Jean Yin looked calm and said indifferently, "We were one family 500 years ago." Haitong breathed a sigh of relief and said with a smile, "I knew you had nothing to do with the richest man's family." Seeing that she seemed relieved and very happy, Jean Yin asked inexplicably, "You don't want me to have anything to do with their family? It's night time now." Haitong said with a smile, "Don't daydream. If you are related to the Jean family, the richest family in Dongguan City, would you marry a stranger like me? I can easily guess that the Jean family's threshold is higher than mine. Even if you are branch of a branch of a branch of a branch, I would still feel that you are marrying above my station and I would not feel comfortable getting along with you. It's okay with you guys? I think we are still people of the same level. There is no psychological pressure." Jean Yin pursed his lips and said nothing. "I heard from your grandmother that you work for a large group. Have you heard of young Master Jean? He is the eldest son of the richest man's family. He came tonight and was like an emperor. Everyone surrounded him. Xiao Jun and I stood on tiptoe and couldn't even see him." Jean Yin still pursed his lips and said nothing, but the look in his eyes when he looked at Haitong became even deeper and colder. They said that young Master Jean is always accompanied by a group of bodyguards and does not allow young women to approach him. Xiao Jun heard that young Master Jean is not married and has never had any scandals. He probably doesn't even have a girlfriend. Mr. Jean, do you think he has a problem with his sexual orientation, as he is an old man and still unmarried? Jean Yin was so shocked by her words that he almost bit his tongue. He glared at Haitong hard. She actually questioned his sexual orientation right in front of him. Haitong thought his stare was just surprise. She analyzed, "Look at his pomp and his attitude, and he doesn't allow young women to get close to him. Doesn't that mean he doesn't like women? If he doesn't like women, then there's something wrong with him. No wonder he's still unmarried at his age. We, the old folks, don't understand the world of the rich." Resisting the urge to strangle her, Jean Yin asked her coldly, "How do you know he's an old man? Is there something wrong with him if he doesn't like young women getting close to him? He is the head of the Jean family. This is not a plot from a novel. The second generation of the rich who can become the successor of the family and successfully take over are all mature and steady. They are at least over 35 years old and already middle-aged. For a young woman like me, what else can he be but an old man?" Jean Yin opened his mouth, but was unable to refute. He couldn't tell her that the eldest master of the Jean family was only 30 years old, only 5 years older than her, and was not an old man at all. After a long while, he asked her coldly, "Are you interested in fighting the young master?" "I'm not interested. It's just that this is the first time I've heard gossip about the CEO up close. I'm a big shot, so I speculated a little. Anshin really hopes that Xiao Jun can get the favor of young Master Jean, but Xiao Jun doesn't want to marry into a wealthy family. Once you marry into a wealthy family, it's like being trapped in an ocean." She had heard Xiao Jun talk about the hardships Anshin had experienced when she first married into a wealthy family. The Shen family was a multi-millionaire family. Although they became rich through demolition, the family wealth was there. Even after marrying into a wealthy family, Anshin still had a hard time. Ordinary girls like them should forget about the story of the prince and Cinderella. "It's late, I'm going to take a shower." After chatting with her husband, Haitong couldn't find any topics to talk about as they were still not familiar with each other. She stood up and walked away, going outside the balcony to retrieve her clothes. "When you renovated the house, you should have asked someone to install 2 horizontal bars on the balcony for drying clothes." Jean Yin said nothing. He bought a fully furnished house and he usually didn't worry about such small things. He didn't expect to install 2 horizontal bars on the balcony for drying clothes. Chapter 19. On the weekend, after meeting your parents, I will go back to my hometown and cut 2 bamboos and bring them back. Jean Yin said calmly, "No need, I'll ask someone to come and install it tomorrow." The eldest lady of the Jean family ran so far back to the countryside to cut 2 bamboos just to use them to dry clothes. How could she think of such an idea? "All right, I'll leave it to you then. This is my home, too." Haitong hummed, holding her clothes and walked towards her room. After opening the door, she turned around and said to Jean Yin, "If you want, after taking a shower, you can take out the clothes you changed out of, and I'll help you wash them when I do the laundry." "No, thank you. I'll have 2 washing machines delivered tomorrow. I'll put one in each bathroom for convenience. That's fine. Tell me how much you spent on the washing machine and I'll give you half. He had already given her a bank card, saying that it was for household expenses, and if he bought a washing machine, she naturally couldn't let him pay for it all. Jean-Yin said calmly, 2 washing machines don't cost much, just a few thousand yuan, I can afford it, and besides, this is also furniture for our little home. Afraid that she would think he didn't know how to live, he explained, I'm usually busy with work, leaving early and returning late, so I always send my clothes to the dry cleaners, so I didn't buy a washing machine. It's not that he doesn't know how to live, it's that he doesn't think so much and doesn't know what is needed in life. In the past 30 years, he has lived a wealthy life as a rich young master, although he also does things within his ability. But he really had never done the laundry. Understandable. Haitong also knows that many senior white-collar workers are so busy with work that they just make do with their lives and don't think about trivial matters like food, clothing, housing and transportation all day long. Mr. Jean, you should go to bed early too. Haitong went into the room, closed the door and locked it. When Jean-Yin heard the sound of her locking the door, his eyes darkened. He felt that she was guarding against him. Then he thought that he also locked the door and closed the windows when he went to bed at night to guard against her. He felt that it was even. It's good to get along like this now. She has a bottom line, and he has a bottom line too. They respect each other and give each other enough space for freedom. Mainly, she didn't expect him to fulfill his duties as a husband. After a while, Jean-Yin took out his cell phone and called the housekeeper Uncle Ming. After Uncle Ming answered the phone, he said in a low voice, Uncle Ming, please arrange for someone to deliver 2 washing machines to Mingyuan Garden tomorrow. You can decide what brand to choose. It doesn't have to be too expensive, but it also doesn't have to be too cheap. Uncle Ming agreed respectfully. Jean-Yin quickly hung up the phone, looked at the closed door, got up and returned to his room. No more words were spoken that night. At 6 o'clock the next morning, Jean-Yin was awakened by a voice call. He took the phone and saw that it was Haitong calling him. He was a little angry, but he still held back and answered Haitong's call. Mr. Jean, are you awake? We agreed to go to the flower shop to buy flowers at 6 o'clock. Yes. Then I'll wait for you, hurry up. Good. Having promised others last night, even though he was still sleepy, Jean-Yin quickly got up, changed his clothes, washed up, and went out. Haitong was holding a small purse, which contained her cell phone, keys, and the bank card that Jean-Yin gave her for family use. Later, she would go to the ATM to check how much money was in it. Buy things based on the money. Chapter 20. Let's go. Jean-Yin walked over and said lightly. Haitong nodded and followed him. The couple walked together without talking. Haitong wanted to find a topic to talk about, but when she saw his serious expression, his handsome face was always tense, as if he didn't want anyone to approach him, she lost interest in talking to him. People like him should be teachers in schools. He is so serious that he can definitely intimidate a class of children. After a while, they arrived at the market. Haitong directed Jean-Yin to park the car in an open space. After getting out of the car, she said to him, let's go have breakfast first. Jean-Yin said nothing and followed her silently. Young Master Jean was very uncomfortable shopping in the market for the first time, but he cooperated with Haitong and did not let Haitong see his discomfort. The two of them each ordered a bowl of noodle soup at the breakfast shop. Haitong also ordered an extra basket of steamed dumplings. She could eat a lot, and a bowl of noodle soup was not enough to fill her up. Jean-Yin ate very slowly. Haitong thought that the way he ate was particularly attractive. Watching him eat made her appetite better. If she hadn't been afraid that Jean-Yin would despise her for being able to eat, she would have ordered another portion of wontons and another golden cake. If you're not full, just order whatever you want. Jean-Yin saw that she still wanted to eat, but with her appetite, how could a bowl of rice noodle soup and a basket of steamed dumplings fill her up? Last night at the banquet, she kept eating and eating for over an hour. Even so, she still packed some stinky tofu to eat at home. She has a slim figure, a standard model figure, but she eats so much that I don't know where the nutrients go. I'm full, but watching you eat makes me hungry. Jean-Yin frowned. Don't be angry. I mean, you look very pretty when you eat. Watching you eat, I feel like you are eating delicacies from land and sea. I can't help but want to eat them too. Zhang Yin looked at her twice, said nothing, and lowered his head to eat his noodle soup. He eats so slowly because he is not used to it. After the couple had eaten and drunk their fill, Haitong took him away again. She did not go directly to the flower shop, but to a nearby ATM that could withdraw money 24 hours a day. He saw her take out the bank card he gave her from her small purse. Haitong has a good memory and remembered the password he wrote after reading it. She inserted the card into the ATM, entered the password, and checked the balance of the bank card. The balance was only 100,000 yuan. 100,000 yuan would be enough for her to buy a lot of furniture for daily use. If you don't have enough money, tell me and I'll transfer money to this card. It's already a lot. How can a small family of two need so much household expenses? I want to see how much money is in our card so that we can have an idea of it and not exceed the budget when buying things. After buying furniture, you still have to save some living expenses. She checked her express delivery and found that the goods would arrive tomorrow. Anyway, on the day of meeting her parents-in-law, she would definitely cook a delicious meal herself to entertain them. Let's go to the flower shop. Haitong stuffed the bank card back into her purse and took Zhang Yin to a flower shop not far away. There are several flower shops near the market, and they usually do good business. Since they are near the market, people like to buy groceries in the morning and evening, so the flower shops near the market are open very early. Haitong asked Zhang Yin first, and knowing that he had no requirements for flowers, she bought a lot of potted flowers according to her own preferences, and also bought 2 flower stands to take home and install herself. Chapter 21. Zhang Yin kept watching her choose, and watched her bargaining with the flower shop owner. She was able to get a 50 yuan pot of flowers down to half the price, and she also had the ability to make the owner feel that the flowers would not sell at all unless he gave them to her. Zhang Yin found it very interesting. His uncle never looks at the price or bargains when buying things. He didn't expect that his wife was such a good bargainer. Seeing the flower shop owner looking as if a large piece of meat had been cut off, Zhang Yin wanted to laugh. After paying the money, Haitong began to move the potted flowers she bore to Zhang Yin's car one by one. Zhang Yin stood by and watched at first, but later he felt that it would be too conspicuous for a girl to move the flowers while he stood next to the car, so he helped Haitong move the flowers. After all the flowers were moved, his car was filled to the brim. Fortunately, the florist gave them some cardboard to cover the seats so as not to dirty his car seats. Do you need to buy anything else? Zhang Yin asked his wife as he got into the car. The car is already full and there is no room for other things. Let's not buy anything yet. It takes a long time to run a home. I will buy and decorate it slowly when I have time. Haitong fastened her seat belt, took out her phone to check the time, and said to him, "Let's go back first. I have to go to my sister's house later." Zhang Yin started the car silently. "Mr. Zhang. Explain. Grandma and your parents are coming over this weekend. Can I tell my sister and ask her and her husband to come over for dinner? My parents are my sister and her husband. We have obtained a marriage certificate. Regardless of whether we have feelings for each other or not, since we are meeting the parents, we should let both sides of the family meet each other. Otherwise we won't recognize each other when we meet on the road." Haitong has grandparents and uncles in the countryside, but they all dislike her and her sister because they are girls. After their parents died in a car accident, none of them was willing to take the sisters in. Instead, they took away part of the compensation that their parents paid for their lives. The house left by her parents is also occupied by her grandparents. She will basically never go back there and doesn't want to treat them as her own relatives. He despised the 2 sisters because they were girls and refused to take them in when their parents died. When her elder sister got married, they had the nerve to ask for a dowry of 300,000 yuan, which was severely rebuked by her 2 sisters. The elder sister was determined not to let her brother-in-law give them the dowry money. In the end, they didn't get the 300,000 yuan dowry, and left cursing, "Not even attending my sister's wedding." In Haitong's heart, her sister is her parent. Zhang Yin did not refuse, and said calmly, "It should be so. Tell your sister and come over on Saturday to meet my parents." Good. Soon, we returned to Mingyuan Garden. The car stopped downstairs, and Haitong started to move the flowers upstairs like a tomboy. However, Zhang Yin called the security guards of the community, gave them a hefty reward, and asked them to help move the potted flowers upstairs. If something can be solved with money, then spend money to solve it and don't tire yourself out. Although Haitong felt that he didn't know how to live by doing this, considering that they were not familiar with each other, she couldn't say that he was spending money recklessly. From another perspective, he was considerate of her and didn't want her to be so tired. It was worth it if she spent that little money. Soon, a corner of the balcony was filled with potted flowers. Zhang Yin went to see the security guards out. Haitong stood on the balcony and looked at them. The balcony was too big. Even if she bought a cart full of potted flowers, they would only occupy a corner. The flower stand had not been assembled yet. She was not free for the time being. She would come back early in the evening and assemble it. What's wrong? The balcony is too big, and these few flowers won't give me the effect I want. Zhang Yin took a look and said, "Yes, it is true." He said in a cold voice, "What kind of effect do you want?" "Like a small garden." Haitong nodded. "Are you going to your sister's house?" "You go first, and I'll go to the flower shop and buy a few carts of potted flowers." Haitong looked at the time and asked him, "What are your working hours?" "I can go later." Chapter 22. Haitong understood that senior white-collar workers like him still had some privileges. She took out the bank card and handed it to Zhang Yin, telling him, "If you want to bargain with the boss, half the price will be enough." Zhang Yin returned the bank card and said, "I still have money here." Haitong looked at him twice and decided not to insist. She had to go to her sister's house, and reminded Zhang Yin again to bargain when buying flowers, then took the keys of the electric bike and left in a hurry. What she didn't know was that after she left, her man took a short video of the balcony with his mobile phone and sent it to Hui Bo, the garden manager of the Zhang family estate. Hui Bo called soon. "Young master. Uncle Hui, you've watched the video, right? How many pots of flowers do you need to decorate this balcony into a small garden? Then pick out some cheap, easy to bloom, large and complex flowers from the greenhouse, and send them to me at room 808, 8th floor, building B, Mingyuan Garden." When accompanying Haitong to buy flowers, Zhang Yin discovered that she liked flowers with large blooms and complex petals. She didn't like flowers with only single petals. Also, remember to make a list of charges. Hui Bo, okay. It should be delivered before this evening. Good. He did whatever the eldest young master told him to do. Just move it upstairs and put it on the balcony, and don't worry about anything else. It was up to Haitong to decide how to arrange it. He had done it all, but she might not like it. Hui Bo responded respectfully again. Zhang Yin hung up the phone quickly. Haitong, who was unaware of the situation, packed breakfast for her sister and nephew just like she did yesterday. Because she was in a good mood, she also bought a children's electric scooter for her nephew. Aunt. When Haitong opened the door and entered the house, she heard the clear shouting of her nephew Zhu Yang. "Yang, you got up so early today, come and see what your aunt bought for you." Car. Zhu Yang is only 2 years old and can't speak much. He trotted over and happily circled around the electric scooter, but he couldn't express his joy in words. Hailing came out of the bathroom. She had just thrown the couple's clothes into the washing machine for washing, and she washed her son's clothes by hand. "Tong, you've been wasting money again." "I bought a car for my nephew, how can it be considered a waste of money?" Haitong put down her breakfast, picked up her nephew, let Yang sit on the electric scooter, and taught Yang how to drive. Zhu Yang was very smart. He learned quickly and was soon riding his bike around the hall. "Sister, I bought breakfast for you and Yang. I set the alarm last night and got up early this morning to prepare breakfast for your brother-in-law to eat before going to work." Seeing her son having fun, Hai Ling smiled and said, "You don't need to buy breakfast for me in the future. You are married now and have your own family. You should spend the money you earn in your own family. Don't always spend it at your sister's house. Your brother-in-law will be dissatisfied if you do that." She didn't want her sister to become a sister-supporting demon. Chapter 23. It doesn't cost much to buy some breakfast, sister, I know the price. Haitong's income is not low, and she will help her sister, but she will not put all her income into it, as she still wants to buy a house. "Has Yang eaten yet?" As Haitong asked, she touched Zhu Yang's forehead and found his temperature was normal. "After he finishes drinking the milk powder, I'm still cooking fanbone porridge. When the porridge is ready, I'll feed him some. He won't starve." Hailing takes good care of her son. "Sister, Zhang Yin will be back in 2 days. This Saturday, his parents will come over. You and my brother-in-law will also go to Mingyuan Garden on that day to meet his elders. Tell my brother-in-law. Hearing this, Hailing said happily, is my brother-in-law back from his business trip? He said he'd be home by Friday night. Okay, I'll talk to your brother-in-law. Her younger sister suddenly got married. Hailing knew what was going on. Her younger sister was lying, but she didn't point it out. She was worried that her younger sister might marry the wrong person. She has never seen what her brother-in-law looks like in person. She attaches great importance to her sister meeting her parents. After staying at her sister's house for a while, Haitong went to work. After her sister left, Hailing fed her son porridge and then took him out. One was to take a walk, the other was to go shopping. She wanted to buy herself 2 new sets of clothes so that she could wear them on the day her sister met her parents. She usually takes care of the kids at home and dresses very casually, all of which are cheap items from the market. When she was a girl, she was very particular about everything. Although the clothes she wore were not from big brands, they were several times better than the ones sold on the street. Now she is married and has a child. She has lost her job and her source of income, and all her previous savings have been spent on decorating her house. Nowadays, she spends money carefully, mostly on her family and rarely on herself. In order to leave a good impression on her sisters-in-laws, Hailing bought 2 sets of relatively high-end clothes and also bought a new suit and tie for her husband. As soon as she walked out of the clothing store, she received a call from her husband. Hey, husband. Hailing was holding her son and pushing a stroller, answering the phone while walking. What did you buy? You spent over $1,000 in one go. You've spent most of this month's living expenses. Let me tell you, living expenses are also shared out. The $1,000 you spent today is yours. If you don't have enough later, you have to figure it out on your own. Like Zhang Yin, Hailing's husband Zhu Honglin also opened a bank card for his wife to use. He deposited a sum of money into it every month for household expenses. However, the bank card was linked to his mobile phone number, so he would receive information every time Hailing spent money. The food expenses for a family of 3 are kept within 100 yuan a day. Zhu Honglin deposits 3,000 yuan into the family bank card every month. If Hailing spends frugally, she can still have a few hundred yuan left for pocket money. If the child gets sick and needs to see a doctor, the 3,000 yuan will not be spent until the end of the month. When she went out, she forgot to bring her own bank card, so she had to use her household card. Unexpectedly, her husband called her and questioned her as soon as she left the clothing store. Chapter 24. I noticed you were shopping in a clothing store. Did you buy clothes? And such expensive ones? You spent more than 1,000 yuan in one go. Can you save some money? Do you think I make money easily? I still have to pay off my mortgage and car loan, and I have to pay for my parents' living expenses. Yarn also needs milk powder, diapers, etc., all of which cost money. You don't make any money, so you rely on me alone. You don't know how to save a little and understand me. Hailing paused, waiting for her husband to finish his accusations, and then she explained, Tongtong said her brother-in-law will be back on Friday, and the 2 families' elders will get together on Saturday to have a meal. I am Tongtong's parent, so I have to leave a good impression on my in-laws. My old clothes don't fit anymore, so I have to buy 2 new ones. I also bought you a new suit and tie. Honglin, let's not go back to your mother's house this weekend. After listening to her explanation, Zhu Honglin muttered something quietly. Hailing didn't hear it clearly and asked him, Honglin, what did you say? Nothing much. You have to dress nicer when meeting your parents, but you don't have to buy 2 sets of clothes. 1 set is enough. Also, you should lose some weight. Once you lose some weight, you can wear your old clothes. Your old clothes were of such good quality. It's a pity that you can't wear them anymore. Look at you. You just eat and drink all day long and spend money recklessly. You have turned yourself into a pig. If you were a pig, you could sell it for a lot of money at the end of the year. But you are a pig that can't be sold. When Zhu Honglin thought of his wife's bloated figure, his words were full of disgust. During their normal sexual life, unless he felt extremely uncomfortable, he would not want to touch his wife. The smart, capable, slim and beautiful Hailing is gone. He really didn't expect that in just 3 years of marriage, his wife would become a fat woman. His mother and sister were right. Hailing was just like that because she ate too much and couldn't make money. She was always squandering money. Manager Ju. Ju Honglin's secretary pushed the door open and came in. That sweet voice rang out, and Ju Honglin quickly said to his wife on the other end of the phone, "Hi Ling, I'm busy now. You hurry back to cook. Don't wait until I get home from get off work and there's no food to eat. I don't know what you do at home every day." After complaining to his wife, Ju Honglin hung up the call without waiting for Hai Ling to reply. "Manager Ju, please take a look at this document. If there is no problem, please sign it." The young secretary handed a document to Ju Honglin. Ju Honglin hummed, took the document, read it, and signed it after confirming that there was no problem. When he handed the document back to the secretary, he took out a rectangular brocade box from the drawer. He handed the brocade box to the secretary, looked at the secretary lovingly, and said, "Yi Zi, after I finished my business last night, I passed by Juliofu on my way home. I went in and picked out a gold necklace for you. Do you like it?" Yi Jiani took the brocade box and opened it. Seeing that there was indeed a gold necklace inside, a smile appeared on her face and she took the gold necklace out of the box. Ju Honglin stood up and walked around the desk, came behind her, took the gold necklace from her hand, and said considerately, "Let me help you put it on." "Good." Ju Honglin helped her put on the gold necklace, kissed her on the cheek, and praised her, "It's very beautiful and suits you very well." Yi Jiani stood up, turned around and hugged his neck, kissed him on the face, and thanked him tenderly, "Manager Ju, thank you, I like this necklace very much. When no one is around, just call me Honglin." Ju Honglin hugged her tightly, with desire on his handsome face, and whispered something in Yi Jiani's ear. Yi Jiani immediately pushed him away, saying coquettishly, "You have a lovely wife and a beloved son at home. We agreed that this is just a spiritual relationship, nothing else." Chapter 25. She enjoyed her boss's pursuit and pampering. She would accept all the flowers and gifts his boss gave her, but at most she would just kiss him. She still maintained that last line of defense. It's not that she is so chaste, she is just trying to keep Ju Honglin in suspense. What she wanted was not to be a secret lover, but to be Ju Honglin's wife. However, Ju Honglin and his wife have been in love for many years and were college classmates. The girl named Hailing was also the financial director of this company. However, when she joined the company, Hailing had already resigned and was a housewife at home. Yi Jiani had never met Hai Ling. Through an old colleague from the company, she learned that Hai Ling gave birth to a son, Ju Yarn, 1 year after her marriage, and had been taking care of the baby at home ever since. She also said that after giving birth to her son, Hai Ling's figure became deformed and she became as fat as a ball. She had heard Ju Honglin complain more than once that his wife was as fat as a pig. Yi Jiani complained in her heart, "Hai Ling is such a stupid woman, even if she gets married she should pay attention to maintaining her figure. If she becomes as fat as a ball, which man will like you? Don't blame her for hooking up with Manager Ju." It was Hai Ling herself who didn't know how to maintain a good figure, which made Manager Ju lose interest in her. She also squandered money all day long. If Hai Ling spent less, Manager Ju would have more money to spend on her. When Hai Ling was mentioned, Ju Honglin immediately said with disdain, "She is a pig. I feel disgusted when I see her. If it wasn't for giving my son a complete family, I would have divorced her long ago." On the contrary, the younger sister-in-law has maintained a well-maintained figure and is younger and prettier than Hai Ling. The two sisters are obviously from the countryside, but Haitong's temperament is more noble than Hai Ling's. Of course, Hai Ling used to have that noble air, but now she is so fat that it ruins everything. Hai Ling didn't know that her husband had been having an affair with his secretary. She knew that her husband had a secretary. Even when she heard the secretary's sweet voice on the phone, she didn't think much about it. She put her son back in the stroller and pushed him away. But because she didn't pay attention to the roadside, she pushed the cart and hit a Maybach parked on the roadside. The luxury car was only slightly damaged when it was hit by the stroller, but the body of the car was also scratched. When she saw the car's logo clearly, she was terrified. Coincidentally, the car owner came back and saw this scene. He hurried over. "Sir, I'm sorry. I'm sorry." Hai Ling apologized repeatedly. He was a man of about 34 or 35 years old, dressed in black, with regular features, but a scar on the right side of his cheek, which made him look a little scary. When the young Ju Yarn saw him, he was so scared that he turned around and stretched out his little hands to Hai Ling, asking his mother to hold him. The scarred man looked at his car and saw Hai Ling with a little kid. Although his face was not good, he did not curse loudly. He just said in a deep voice, "Leave your contact number. After my car is repainted, I will ask you to reimburse me for the cost." "Sir, I'm sorry." The scarred man was silent for a moment, then said, "It has already happened. Saying sorry won't help. Be careful when you walk next time. If you scratch my car, you have to pay for it. If I hit your baby, you will be heartbroken." Yes, it's my fault. I will be more careful next time." Hailing took out her cell phone and said, "Sir, tell me your number and I'll call you. You can keep my number. When your car is repaired, I will compensate you for whatever it cost." The scarred man gave his number. Hailing called and hung up after the phone rang. "What's your last name?" "Your surname is Hai, and my name is Hailing." After the scarred man noted Hailing's name, he waved his hand and said, "Okay, you go first." Hailing apologized again and quickly pushed her son away from the scene. "This time I will be scolded to death by my husband when I get home." Chapter 26. At this time, a line of luxury cars came slowly. One of them was a Rolls-Royce, which was Zhang Yin's private car. The luxury car stopped on the side of the road. Zhang Yin rolled down the window and saw the scarred man. He shouted, "Dong Ming, what are you doing here? I got off the car to buy something. I didn't want anyone to scratch my car." "Didn't catch the guy who scratched your car." Zhang Yin said instinctively, "Do you need me to help you find the person who scratched your car?" "No need. I asked for her number. I will ask her for compensation after my car is repaired. She can't escape from my Lu Dongming's farm in Wancheng." Lu Dongming returned to the car, started it quickly, and said to Zhang Yin, "Let's go." After hearing what he said, Zhang Yin said no more and rolled up the car window. Soon, several luxury cars drove away. The day goes by quickly. In the blink of an eye, it was evening again. After the students had their evening self-study classes, Haitong wanted to go into the small kitchen to prepare dinner for her and Xiaojun, but she received a call from her sister. "Tong, I've been thinking about this for a whole day, and I really have no choice but to tell you." "Sister, what's the matter?" "When I went shopping this morning, I accidentally scratched a Maybach while pushing Yarn. Repairing a luxury car like that would cost a lot of money. I calculated that all my private savings might not be enough to compensate. I told your brother-in-law about it, and he not only scolded me, but also said that it was my fault and he would not help me clean up the mess." Hearing this, Haitong's heart tightened, and she asked hurriedly, "Sister, you are in a hurry first, how much does it cost to repair the car?" "I don't know yet. The owner asked for my phone number and said he would claim compensation from me after the car was repaired." "Sister, I'm glad you and Yarn are okay. No matter how much it costs to repair the car, we will pay for it. I'll lend it to you, don't worry." Hailing's voice was choked with sobs. Tong, I am so useless that I actually caused such a disaster." "Sister, you didn't mean it, don't be sad, money is just material possessions, as long as the person is okay it's all that matters." After Haitong comforted her sister, she said to her friend, "Xiaojun, I have to go home." "Okay." Shen Xiaojun knew that something happened to Hailing and urged her friend to go home first. Haitong rushed to her sister's house, comforted her all night, and returned home late at night. As soon as I opened the door and entered the room, I heard Zhang Yin's cold question, "Why are you back so late?" Haitong closed the door and replied, "Something happened to my sister." Zhang Yin's cold expression softened a little, and he asked calmly, "What happened to your sister?" "She was shopping this morning and accidentally bumped into a luxury car parked on the side of the road while pushing Yarn, scratching the car body. The repair cost will probably be quite a lot. My sister has been unemployed and has no income in the past few years, and she is worried that she can't afford to pay for the repairs." Hearing this, Zhang Yin's dark eyes flickered. Could it be that his aunt had crashed into Lu Dongming's car? What car did she hit? Will it cost a lot to repair? Zhang Yin asked calmly. My sister said it was a Maybach. The car body was scratched. It should cost a lot of money. She had no idea how much money Maybach would take from scratching it like that. Chapter 27. Zhang Yin stopped talking. The person who scratched Lu Dongming's car in the morning was actually his aunt whom he had never met. "Mr. Zhang, it's late. I'm going back to my room to rest." Although she comforted her sister, Haitong's mood was also affected because she was unsure. She said something to Zhang Yin and went back to her room. Zhang Yin opened his mouth and wanted to say something, but she had already entered the room. Those flowers on the balcony, she will arrange them herself when she sees them tomorrow morning. However, Zhang Yin felt something was wrong in his heart, as if he had done something good and was expecting to be praised by her. Mr. Zhang. The door opened again. Haitong stood at her door and asked him, "Did you buy the washing machine? How much did it cost?" The two washing machines cost a total of 7,000 yuan. Haitong compared the washing machine at her sister's house and felt that the price of the washing machine Zhang Yin bought was reasonable, so she didn't say anything. Haitong. Zhang Yin stopped her when she was about to close the door again. Your sister's problem can be solved. If you don't have enough money, tell me and I can lend some to your sister. Haitong said gratefully, Mr. Zhang, thank you. When the other party's repair costs come out, we will see if the money we have collected is enough to compensate. If not, I will borrow some from you on behalf of my sister. The newlyweds, who had only been married for a few days, were completely unfamiliar with each other, but when her sister was in trouble, he was willing to lend her money, and Haitong was really grateful. Well, it's late. Go and have some rest. Don't think too much. There will always be a way out when you reach the mountain. You too, good night. Haitong said good night to him and went back to her room. Zhang Yin sat in the hall for a while, then stood up and went back to his room. As soon as the door was closed, he took out his cell phone and called Lu Dongming. Dongming, are you asleep? Lu Dongming laughed and said, how is that possible? I usually go to bed at 2 or 3 in the morning. What's the matter? Treat me to a drink. Come to my house, I'll take out the fine wines from my collection and drink with you. How much did it cost to repaint your car? Zhang Yin didn't get out of the car to check at that time, so he didn't know how seriously Lu Dongming's car was scratched. The scratch isn't serious, so it'll only cost about $10,000. You didn't file an insurance claim.